Hey broeder! Broeder! Kom dit, dit kan ik weer even stoppen.
Op fiets! Op fiets! Jawel, op!
Number 45, Mikhail Flora. Number 10, Andres Abu. Number 60, Tristan Sherway. Number 92, Gaetan Hamas. Head coach of New Switzerland is Mr. Patrick Fischer. The assistant coaches, Tommy Albalin and Martin Yin. Let's introduce the lineup for Team Canada. Goalkeepers, number 30, Joel Offer. And number 50, Jordan Bennington. First line, number 25, Owen Paula. Number 55, Colton Parayko. Number 13, Brandon Tanner. Number 17, Jack McBain. And number 18, Dawson Mercer. Second line, number 4, Bowman Byron. Number 24, Jamie Alachiak. Number 14, Dylan Guntier. Number 19, Jared McCann. And number 20, Nick Paul. Third line, number 21, Caden Cooley. Number 78, Damon Severson. Number 38, Brendan Hagel. Number 80, Pierre-Luc Dubois. And number 91, John Tavares. Fourth line, number 3, Owen Zellweger. Number 8. Team Canada. And now it's time to welcome to the arena, Team Switzerland.
A second showdown of the Saturday in Prague as Canada takes on Switzerland in the second semi-final of the day. They met in the preliminary round. Canada won that game 3-2 thanks to a couple of power play goals in the third period. They scored all three of their goals in that game on the power play. In fact, the Swiss have not allowed an even strength goal in their last 6 games in this tournament. The officials are Mikael Holm from Sweden, Jan Rybak from Czechia are the referees, Ludwig Lundgren from Sweden, Josef Smir from Czechia will work the lines.
And this is a starting 6 for Team
49-year-old Andre Tourigny has Canada back in the semifinals.
63.
It is the 9th straight year that Canada has appeared in at least the semifinals. And for Patrick Fischer, the Swiss are looking for an elusive gold medal. They've won silver in 2013 and 2018. Those are the only 2 medals in the last 70 years. The Swiss are coming off a win over Germany in their quarterfinal, 3-1. Canada defeated Slovakia in its quarterfinal, 6-3. Canada's won gold medals 4 times in the last 8 World Championships and looks to advance the gold medal game for the 8th time in the last 9 years. Sven Andrighetto is one of 3 Swiss players who has won silver medals twice in the last decade. And there is Jordan Binnington, the 30-year-old from Richmond Hill, Ontario, gets the start again for Canada. He is 6-0 in the tournament, an .870 save percentage. And it'll be Leonardo Giannoni in goal for the Swiss. We've not seen him since the game against Canada. It was Giannoni in goal in 2018 when the Swiss beat Canada in the semifinals back in 2018 in Copenhagen. And away we go. Canada's the home team, has the last change. The winner gets Czechia. And it will surely be a raucous gold medal game tomorrow night. The loser will face the Swedes for bronze earlier in the day tomorrow. Owen Power tries to poke that head. Calvin Turcotte with it, gets bumped there by Jack McBain at center ice, and McBain got clipped with a high stick as Turcotte went down. Power back to pick it up, and Power plays it back around for Mercer. Dawson Mercer bumped there by Sven Andrighetto, who plays that to an open wing. Brandon Tanev chops that back down the ice by Jonas Siegenthaler, and icing called against the Canadians.
Jack McBain is still checking himself for damages. He took the high stick in the neutral zone. And Turcotte got all tangled up and on the way out. Again, you have to be responsible for your stick. That is a high stick call. That was not made. That was missed. So you saw a penalty 4 seconds into the first semifinal.
Right. The difference in the round-robin game between Canada and Switzerland was a 5-minute major to Kevin Fiala. He was ejected from the contest. Canada scored the tying and go-ahead goals on the ensuing power play. Nino Niederreiter plays that across, took a bad bounce in that corner. We've seen that time and time again here. Tanev back for Mercer. Going to flip that back ahead. Now loose in the corner, gathered back up by the captain, Roman Josi. Leads the tournament in points by defenseman and in minutes played. That long shot taken by Hischier, knocked away by Binnington. From the point, Josi has shot, and that hit Caden Gooley and knocked him down, and Gooley is slow to get to his feet. Gooley's still out there as Josi fires it back in. He is limping noticeably, and that's to remain out there as Brandon Hagel's back to pick it up. Fabrice Herzog centers it. It's picked off by Damon Severson. He'll wind his way out, and Gooley will limp to the Canadian bench. Christian Marty spins back with it. And now fired back down to the Canadian zone. Binnington with Bowen Byram, Dylan Cousins. For Andrew Mangiapane, he finds Michael Bunting. And Bunting works along the boards. Spins that back around. Picked up by Jamie Alexiak, and now behind the goal is Bunting. Throws it back in front. That's knocked in by Herzog and back down the ice. Cousins up ahead for Bunting, swings that down, and Giannone had to play it. Went through his legs, played back in front for Bunting, couldn't get a shot away. And now brought back by Tristan Chervet. Chervet moves in on Power, and Power races him behind the goal. Cousins back on it. Loose puck at the side of the goal, and Power. It's knocked back in front by Gaetan Haas, and a hard shot taken there from the point by Dean Kukan. That's picked up by Mangiapane. Mangiapane spilled at center ice, and Power got it back up. Across he goes to Parayko. Nick Paul back out there for Canada. A couple of goals and an assist in Canada's quarterfinal win against the Slovaks. Kukan flips that back down as Severson goes back. Niederreiter knocked that down. And now Severson looks ahead for Paul. Connor Bedard is once again listed as Canada's 13th forward for this game. So Gunther out there with Paul and McCann. Severson steps up. Loose along the boards and picked up by Nico Hischier, one of 4 first overall picks playing in this game. Him for Switzerland and 3 for Canada. Bedard, Tavares, and Power. Moves it back down to the Swiss zone as Roman Josi is back to pick it up and plays that back across for Andrea Glauser. Poked back in by Turcoff, and Dooley back out there for Canada, goes back to pick it up. Christoph Berchi stepped on the puck. Turcoff tries to play it back. And that pass goes off the stick of Dooley and back down the ice. And Giannone out to play it. Playing in his 10th World Championship for Switzerland is Giannone as Byram goes back. That'll barely get to the top 5 of the Swiss roster. As Jack McBain winds in. McBain drops, Alexiak in, shoots. That was blocked by Glauser. Or Michael Fora, rather. And now Berchi back with it. Christoph Berchi. Squeezed there by Byram. And played back by Mercer. Owen Byram got bumped there by Herzog. Spins back behind the goal. Puts it high in the air. Glove down by Brandon Tanev. And here's Tanev back with it. Bounce that back down to the Swiss zone. Giannone steers that away. Now John Tavares on it. Tavares swings that rink line for Olin Zellweger. Shoots. That goes high and wide. Now Dooley steps up as Herzog tried to flip that ahead. And Hagel couldn't hold the line. Tavares swings back on Sentler and muscles him off the puck. Zellweger pivots back. Averaging just over 7 minutes a game. He's got 4 assists for Canada in 8 games. In comes Tavares. In on Marty. Bats that back around for Pierre-Luc Dubois. At the point, here's Dooley with a shot. He fanned on that. And Romain Loeffel back with it. Back up to Marty. Gathered back up by Zellweger. Slides out for Dooley, who chips it back down to the Swiss zone, and Giannone out to play it. Chervet banks that for Haas, and Bunting on him as Haas winds in with Andres Ambuel playing in his 19th World Championship. Breaks the record for games played every time he steps on the ice. Lead pass to Parayko, leading the rush for Canada. Colton Parayko drops it back for Bunting, feeds it back and couldn't find Mangiapane. Here's Parayko back at the point for Power, who holds the line. In for Parayko, and Cousins slammed there by Haas. Kevin Fiala had that knocked away, picked up by Bunting. Bunting got spun around. It's loose in front for Cousins, couldn't quite reach it, and Jonas Siegenthaler has it back for the Swiss. He got bumped there by Mangiapane as he bounces it down to Binnington. Swiss have the first 2 shots of the game as Cousins banks that ahead. Finds Dawson Mercer. In comes Mercer, winds it and shoots. That goes just wide out the other side. Tanev couldn't reach it. He was tied up by Glauser.
Finally coming up.
And I think Tanev got Glauser with a high stick. And the Swiss will get the game's first power play. Just over 5 minutes and 54 seconds in.
High stick on McBain missed. The high stick on Glauser detected.
Team Canada, number 3, penalty for high sticking.
Got him right in the visor, absolutely. And the potent Swiss power play scored a tournament-leading 10 goals in the power play. Will go to work, and that's Stevenson limping off and staying on the bench.
Hischier, Fiala, Niederreiter, Ambul forwards to the power play. Yossi on the back end. Away comes Brandon Hagel on Roman Yossi, who pivots back, and Hagel's into him. Now Hagel works that free. Still on it. Hagel causing the Swiss all kinds of trouble. Fiala brings it out.
Work by Hagel, staying with it.
And now Alexiak works in. Jamie Alexiak pivots back and lays that back in deep as Canada gets fresh penalty killers on the ice. Here is Yossi. Up for Hischier, being harassed there by McBain. Hischier comes across the line for Niederreiter. Niederreiter banks that back for Hischier. Yossi with a shot that was deflected in front by Ambul. Puck still bouncing and reaching forward is Ambul. Plays that back to Yossi. Winds and shoots. A rocket of a shot stopped by Binnington, and he'll hang on.
A battle in front between Alexiak and Niederreiter. As Parayko and Alexiak, two large defensemen trying to keep the front of Jordan Binnington clear. Parayko, who leads Canada in ice time, their only player averaging more than 20 minutes a game. You'll see him out there a lot, and as much as possible against the Fiala-Hischier line at 5-on-5 or on the power play.
Now Cousins for the face-off. He has a couple of shorthanded goals in this tournament. Fiala plays that back for Yossi. Kevin Fiala plays that back for Hischier across to Yossi. Yossi lays it back in front, deflected by Niederreiter. The puck still loose, poked out by Cousins, and kicked away by Severson. Hischier back on it. Spins back away for Yossi. Roman Yossi for Fiala. Holds and shoots, and Binnington makes a stop on Fiala, who, like Dominic Kubalik, became a new dad during this tournament. Fiala waited for the bid to be born in LA and then flew here to join the Swiss team. Kubalik became a new dad the day the tournament began.
And Fiala or Kubalik hasn't missed a beat with their new baby until Fiala tied for the team lead in points with Hischier and Yossi.
Fiala's one of 4 players in history to play the under-18, the World Junior, the World Championships in the same year. Did it in 2014.
Pretty good when he's pretty young.
Jack Hughes did the same thing for Team USA. Romain Loeffel fires that down. 30 seconds to go in this Swiss power play. Here's Power on it. Out of his long reach. Now Bank back at the point. Here's Loeffel with it. Romain Loeffel. In for Gaetan Haas. Back for Loeffel. Across he goes to Sven Andrighetto. Andrighetto back for Loeffel. Shoots. That goes way high off the glass and out of play.
Romain Loeffel is the designated shooter for the second power play unit. The veteran 55 is out there trying to tee him up, and the simplified second unit is trying to get bodies down around the front of that. 13 seconds left. They'll look to move quickly if they're able to win the faceoff.
By the way, the other two are Vlada Paraga of Belarus and Andrei Kostitsyn. Two as they played the 3 top men's tournaments in the same year. And here's Romain Loeffel back with it as time winds down, and Tanev steps back on. Pass for Calvin Turkov, drops it off for Christoph Berchi, trying to throw that back in front. It was blocked by Tanev. Tanev steps into Turkov. Pierre-Luc Dubois chips that for Tavares. Rick White goes for Tanev. Tanev back for Tavares. Spins it back in front. The pass was behind Bowen Byram, who jumped in for Canada. And now Dean Kuka up to center ice. That's knocked down by Dubois. Byram tangles there with Berchi at center ice. Dubois moves in and rolled off his stick. Dubois looks back for Zellweger. That missed. And now Berchi has to go off his stick over the boards and out of play. 11:28 to go in a scoreless first period here in Prague.
Well, Buffett, you have to come pretty well. But what about the Mexican rain? They were a huge rain. Are you ready, guys? For Belstadova, Mexico. In 3, 2, 1, let's go! Pretty good job. Let's go the first round of the huge Mexican rain. Backward for second. Just now, Mexican family, second round.
Switzerland here in the second semifinal in Prague.
Shot 6-0 for Switzerland. And you think a lot about Switzerland offensively. Josi, Fiala. They've been one of the best defensive teams in the tournament. How does Canada break them down at 5-on-5 might be the bigger challenge than actually slowing down the offensive side of things.
Face off one back to Michael Fora. Plays that back down to the Canadian zone. Severson back on it. Connor Bedard out there with Tavares and Dubois. Herzog plays that back. Here's Tavares. Back around to Severson. And Tavares. Left it there for Bedard, who chips it rink wide to Goulet. Caden Goulet through the middle. It's chipped down by Dubois, but the puck goes over the glass and out of play.
And what makes Switzerland so good defensively is that because they are good skaters, they keep tight gaps everywhere. They're good enough skaters that they can stay with essentially any opposition in the defensive zone, stopping and starting. They don't get tired, they don't get confused, and they don't give you the time to create space. And then you factor in that they have the puck a lot, so they don't have to defend quite as much. It makes them tough to score against.
Paul wins that face-off back out there with McCann and Gunther. Severson for Gunther, chips that to Nick Paul working in. Paul pivots in on Gaetan Haas. Paul drops that back to Goulet. Caden Goulet across to Severson, has a look. Banks it off the end boards. Fish back in front by McCann, and Giannoni makes the glove save on that.
Good idea by Severson. He has got multiple layers of Swiss players trying to block the shot, so he goes off the back wall. And probably too far behind the goal line to go through his legs like that, but just trying to get it out in front of the net.
And a rare offensive zone face-off for Canada. Earlier today, just a stunning win by the Czechs, 7-3 over Sweden. The Swedes have not allowed a first period goal going in, had not trailed in the tournament, had not allowed more than 2 goals. That all happened in that loss to Czechia. Fischer lost the puck to McCann, drops it back to Gunther with a shot that was partly blocked by Siegenthaler. Gunther back with it. Now Fiala reaching for it. And Parayko chips at that. Parayko holds the line for Canada, fishes that back into the corner. Siegenthaler goes back as Paul came in on him, and now Kukan getting forced as well. Paul turns it over. Fiala lifts that high in the air. Niederreiter goes in on Power. And Owen Power knocks it away from Nino Niederreiter. Mangiapane trying to work that free. And Andrighetto plays it across. Marty with a shot, gloved down by Binnington, and he'll hang on. 9:46 to go here in the second semifinal of the World Hockey Championship in Prague.
Milzino brings you the official makeup look. We give you a taste. Try, but it's also in a virtual mirror. With this passion, the skipper, and the legendary loose. With great smart, even stick for your curing base. Choose your colors as you like. Milzino, the beauty of hockey. And this is it. Tony Newman, Oscar Women. Milzino, beauty that scores. But then, no warning, Milzino also brings products for you. LLC! Milzino, the beauty of hockey.
No score here in the first period. Canada and Switzerland is the 2024 World Hockey Championship, facing each other for the second time. 3 of the 4 semifinalists from Canada's Group A. And Andrighetto knocks that down to Lawful. And all 3 teams remaining in gold medal contention are from Group A, as the Swedes got bumped down to the bronze medal game earlier. Now moved ahead by Mangiapane for Bunting. Michael Bunting with a rolling puck, pivots back, looks to Byram. Byram, long wrist shot, and that goes off Verci over the glass and out.
They're gonna have a hard time getting point shots through. Switzerland very good at blocking, both with their forwards and their defensemen who front the shot. So whether you have to go to the side of the net or shoot it a bit quicker, Canada's gonna have to find different ways to get the puck to the net. I think it'd probably be a good idea, maybe some angle shots onto the pads, create a little chaos on rebounds, as opposed to just working it around every time.
Tavares with a face-off, wins that back. He's the #1 face-off man of the tournament. Dubois took a whack at that. It's knocked down by Dario Simeon. He turned 30 this week at this tournament. Alexiak plays it around. Bounces back in front for Simeon. And a move back to center ice where Glauser's back to pick it up. Lead pass to Dario Simeon. Flips it back down the corner. Centler on it. Elias there with Byram. When Byram chips that back ahead at the line, helped by Yossi, winds and shoots at the flex wide as Binnington got a piece of that. Simeon back around Alexiak, plays that to the line but not out. Glauser a long shot, Binnington save. Rebound loose at the side of the goal, Simeon couldn't get to it. Now Hagel knocks that free for Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois comes steaming in with Tavares. Dubois shoots and Giannoni knocks that away. That'll be Canada's first shot on goal, comes with 8:30 to go in the first period. Gouli takes the return pass from Hagel. Long wrist shot, pinballs down in front. Giannoni has a strap loose on his mask. As Dubois goes back, the referee tells him they're going to keep playing here. As it's poked back down, and Giannoni's arguing with the official as play continues.
Is it his neck guard or his helmet? If it's his neck guard, that's probably why they keep playing.
I think it's his mask. Young with a long shot, that goes wide.
He wants a whistle for sure.
Now picked up by Ambuhl. Poke check there by Zellweger, who sweeps that ahead. Olin Zellweger slides that back ahead. Mercer tries to knock it down. It's loose at the line for McBain, and Jack McBain flips that ahead. Now Mercer back on it, shoots. Giannoni the save, and Giannoni is still giving it to the official, shaking his head. You can see the strap dangling down. Picked up by Haas. Ambuhl chips that back down to the Canadian zone. Parayko spins back as Ambuhl stepped into him, and then McBain knocked into Ambuhl. Jared McCann fires that down in the Swiss zone. Giannoni out to play it. Has to dive back and slide that back for Kukan. It's knocked down at center ice by Gunther for Paul. And Alexiak. A bump by Fiala. Hischier moves in with Niederreiter. Nico Hischier back in. Stop point blank by Binnington. And then we got a penalty being called here. A trip going to Jared McCann with 6:53 to go here in the period.
Alexiak gets caught in deep. Hischier gets given the lane in front of that. Byram playing the 2-on-1. We're saying on Niederreiter's attempt to chase down the rebound as 22 cuts across. That's Hischier sticking there alongside McCann's to take down Niederreiter. Canada's probably best chance of the game. Dawson Mercer finally, Giannoni can fix the straps on his equipment. And second power play of the game goes to Switzerland.
Power play started very well. He scored 5 power play goals against Austria, and that's picked up by Cousins. Moves ahead with Hagel, 2-on-1. Cousins back in front for Hagel. Great stop, point blank by Giannoni. And Giannoni appears to be still struggling with his mask. That's picked up by Hagel. Fiala plays it back to center ice. Niederreiter rink wide for Ambuhl. The Swiss trailed Austria 2-0 and 3-1 in that game. Took a 5-4 lead. The Austrians tied it late, and then Switzerland won it in the last minute with a power play goal from Hischier. And Canada had its hands full with the Austrians as well, who scored 5 goals in the third to erase a 6-1 lead and force overtime, which was won by John Tavares. It's been a wild and woolly event here in Prague. There's been a lot of upsets. There's been a lot of unusual events happen. And I would say that Czechia's runaway win over Sweden would count as the latest. Lawful battles that back around a minute to go. The Swiss power play. Gouli back on it. Knocked down by Dario Simeon. Plays that back to Herzog. Looking for Andrighetto. Rink wide he goes for Haas. Gaetan Haas for Herzog. Lawful back to Enriqueto. Romain Lawful spins that back for Haas. Crossing goes Enriqueto, a shot, and Binnington the pad save. Tanev knocks that free. Brandon Tanev with a chance. In comes Tanev, short-handed breakaway. Oh, what a stop by Giannoni. Poke loose by Enriqueto. And McBain is in there. What a chance for Brandon Tanev, short-handed.
Would have been better for him if Giannoni would have come for the puck, because he would have had an empty net.
Giannoni thought about it. Enriqueto feeds it ahead to Haas. That shot flips wide. Battle for it in the corner. Power in there along with Parayko. And Enriqueto works that free back to Fiala. Lawful back to Fiala with a shot, scores! Kevin Fiala, power play goal, and Switzerland takes a 1-0 lead.
Best offensive player for Switzerland gets it going early, because after Brandon Tanev has a breakaway, he tries to sell back and go upstairs. He doesn't elevate enough. Going with a nice save, and it's the give and go to set up the one-timer. He just powers it over Jordan Binnington's shoulder. Hard for Hagel to get out and stay in that lane as Fiala backing up, and a lot of net at the top to shoot for, and Fiala makes no mistake, and another power play goal for Switzerland, another one for Fiala against Canada to take the lead.
7 goals in 7 games for Kevin Fiala. Playing this 6th World Championship. Worth the wait to get him on the Swiss roster. And now Bedard picks it back out. Bedard, rink wide pass to Zellweger. Olin Zellweger winds in. He goes after his own shooting, plays it around for Tavares. 4.5 to go here in the opening period. Here's Christoph Berchi with it. Banks it back to Ed Verscherve. Binnington steers that across to Zellweger. Tavares reaching forward. It's picked up by Zellweger. Up for Dubois. And Dubois was spilled there by Siegenthaler. Bedard back on it. On Herzog. Cousins goes in hard on Martin. It's brought back by Dario Simeone. Drops it off for Sentler. Sentler shoots. That goes just wide. And now Cousins back on it. Alexia comes in. It's picked up by Herzog. Fabrice Herzog wraps it around. Binnington the save. Loose puck in front. Binnington freezes that. With all kinds of sticks chopping away at it. Kevin Fiala has the power play goal to give Switzerland a 1-0 lead here in the first.
Well, these are two members of our high crew. I think that you know them pretty well. They have something special for you. Přátelé, to jsou 2 členové české high crew. A protože skvěle fandíte na tomhle semifinále, něco pro vás mají. Tak to ukažte. Úžasný meč a t-shirtkama. Takže, is there anyone who wants official merchandise from this championship? Let's rise and show us where you are. No tak, pojďte, kdo chcete tričko, tak stávat nohy. A pleskat rukama. There is one more t-shirt from some of you. Well. And Bobo's also something soon.
3:45 to go here in the opening period. Switzerland a 1-0 lead. The shots are 12-5.
Canada's 2 best chances have come short-handed.
Off the face-off, it's one back to Yossi. Ambul back on it. Switzerland had some great preliminary round results in recent years. They had lost 4 straight quarterfinals going into this year, but finally ended that streak as they beat Germany. There's Shervey on it. Alexiak lost his stick. Shervey works back in front of backhand shot, stopped by Binnington. Now gloved down by Haas. And then Gaetan Haas plays it back around. Alexiak goes to it. Swiss have never won a gold medal at the World Championship as Yossi gloves that down for Haas back in front of Ambul. He chipped that, was poke check by Binnington. There's a penalty coming again to Canada.
Alexiak caught on a race to the net. And he gets his stick right into the hands of Ampule. That's a penalty. And it's because Switzerland's just been a little bit quicker off the boards than Canada. Starting to open ice, and Canada's been chasing in their own end a little bit too much in the first period. Third straight penalty to Canada.
Hischier steps back out with Fiala, Niederreiter, Ampule, and Josi.
Fiala's the shooter from anywhere on the ice.
Doesn't to take the draw. Here's Niederreiter on it. Kevin Fiala plays it back across to Josi with a hard drive, and Binnington makes the stop. Roman Josi came late for this team, given the C as Nico Hischier gave up his captaincy to more experienced Josi. Fiala now tied with Dylan Cousins for the power play goal he was for, and one behind him for the tournament leading goal scored.
Such an important addition because he has that explosive offensive ability.
Ampule for the face-off against McBain. He wins it back to Hischier. To Josi. Josi back to Hischier. Roman Josi has a look, feeds that back to Fiala, to Josi, shoots, scores! Another power play goal. It's 2-0 Switzerland. And Niederreiter might have got the last touch on that.
That one was going mid-net and tipped right up under the bar. No chance for Binnington as Niederreiter, who does a lot of the grunt work on the power play in front of the net. Support pucks, able to get a stick on this one-timer.
Yep.
And change of direction. Binnington, no chance. Roman Josi tees it up, and Niederreiter, right off the shaft of his stick into the open side, and 3 penalties, 2 power play goals against. And Canada find themselves chasing this game the wrong way early.
Niederreiter's 3rd power play goal of the tournament as well. The Canadians in a similar situation they found themselves against Finland, as Cousins fanned on that.
This Switzerland team's a lot better than Finland.
Right, they were down 2-0. They were actually outshot 12-0 in the first period of that game. Rallies back and won it 5-3. Against a very good Swiss team. In comes Severson, drops it back, and a quick chance there for Mangiapane is blocked. Caden Gooley back with it. Gooley tees it up. And Gooley works it behind the goal, lost the puck to Siegenthaler. Knocked down by Cousins. Cousins swings that rink wide to Severson, walks in, shoots, a rolling puck went just wide. Cousins back to Gooley, he fires at it, Berchi, and Turkov plays it back out. And again, the Swiss have not allowed an even strength goal in their last 6 games.
Canada, it feels so much pressure to score on the rare chances you can create because they're so few and far between. Canada had a couple good looks, not able to even hit the net on Severson's shot. That first unit, Fiala, Josi, Hischier, Niederreiter, they have been doing damage all tournament long on the power play.
Tavares with Dubois and Hagel the forwards. It'll be Berchi for the face-off. Tavares wins another. Back to Byram across to Alexiak. A shot that goes wide. Dubois with it. Barely Dubois seals off Berchi. Dubois still with it. Banks that back around. Alexiak waiting for it. Jimmy Alexiak banks that down to Hagel. Looks in for Dubois. Tavares goes to the front of the net. Couldn't quite reach that pass. Now Byram waits, drops it back. Hagel with a drive. Kicked out by Giannoni. And Rigetto plays it ahead, but not out. Alexiak plays it back down to Dubois. Here's Berchi with it. Winds his way back out. And chip back down to the Canadian zone as Byram is back to pick it up. Owen Byram, lead pass for Tavares. In comes John Tavares. Winds it and shoots from a sharp angle. Hit the side of the goal. Tavares back on it. Throws it back in front. That's picked off by Herzog and sent back to center ice. Pareko to McCann. McCann falls. And Sven Sentler back to pick it up. Sentler. Out to center ice. Pareko. Feeds on it for McCann. He was tied up by Marty. Christian Marty plays for Zurich in the Swiss League. They won the Swiss League Championship this year, coached by Mark Crawford. Now McCann works his way in. Backhand, drops that back. Pareko winds and shoots, and Giannone makes the stop, but there's no rebound.
And the power plays done all the damage for Switzerland in the first period. Quick one-timer for Kevin Fiala, blows it over the shoulder of Binnington, then a slapper from Yossi. One-timer as well that Nino Niederreiter gets a piece of. And point-generated offense on the power play done the trick. In a period where Switzerland has been the better team.
McBain for the face-off against Hischier. McBain wins a face-off back to Bedard. Pareko for power, goes off the skate of Niederreiter and back out. And away comes Bedard. That lead pass is picked off by Niederreiter. Chip back down to the Canadian zone as power goes back. Up comes power. Time winding down, works in, long shot. And Giannone steers that away. On the strength of power play goals by Fiala and Niederreiter, the Swiss go to the dressing room with a 2-0 lead after one.
Trying to generate offense was going to be a challenge. Playing 5-on-5 was going to be important. And two areas that the Team Canada will have to discuss in the first intermission to improve upon if they want to come back to this game.
It's the 2024 World Hockey Championship semifinals Saturday from Prague.
In upcoming periods of grade hockey. Well, before we will begin with our intermission program, it's time to check out the key statistics.
Here we go, boys. Just one.
No. Hey, let him play. Let him play. Thank you. Tripping. Play the puck! No! High stakes! Play the puck!
Team Canada, number 19, Gerard McKenna, 2-minute penalty for gripping and 13:07. 2-minute penalty for gripping and 13:07. Canada, number 19, Gerard McKenna, 2-minute penalty for gripping and 13:07.
the reality that Canada brought to Czechia for this IIHF World Championship, including Conor Berard or Owen Power. Now there is also experience, and I think that the second period can be period of John Tavares. The experience is needed because Team Canada is losing with 2 goals margin. Well, I think that for us, the fans, it's a thrill to see our second period. You saw the number of shots, but it's still the Sleeping Giants Canada, and I think that they will wake up pretty soon. Well, before we will begin the second period, here are the highlights of the first round. Please welcome back defending world champions, Team Canada! And also, please welcome back the lines, Team Switzerland!
Giannone stops all 8 shots he faces in the opening period. As his team has a 2-0 lead thanks to a couple of power play goals. And it was Giannone in goal for the Swiss in 2018 in Copenhagen when the Swiss beat Canada in an elimination game for the first time at the World Championship. They went to play the Swedes in the gold medal game. They were beaten that year. They also lost the Swedes in the gold medal game in 2013. They were 9-0 going into that game. Those 2 silver medals, their best performances in the last 70 years at the World Championship. Here's Dawson Mercer, lays that back out for Tanev, who had a shorthanded breakaway in the opening period. Back is Severson across the goalie with a shot, pad save by Giannone. And now Dean Kukan moves in. Long shot stopped by Binnington, he'll hang on to that.
Canada understands, still plenty of time left. They just need one goal to get right back into it. Trying to get pucks in the front of the net, trying to get bodies. If you're having a hard time breaking down defensive zone coverage, the best ways to do it is just shoot and try to track down rebounds. Have the unpredictable nature of rebounds do what you're trying to do and break down the defense.
Off the face-off, one again by Tavares. Here's Hagel with it. Pass ahead to Tavares, and John Tavares wrists that down in the Swiss zone. Dubois back after it. From a sharp angle, there's Hagel with a chance, and Giannone makes the save on that.
Don't mind it. Don't mind it at all. Put pucks on the net. Crash the net. Get offensive zone faceoffs. Get some sort of momentum offensively going for Team Canada. They're so stagnant in the first period, just not a lot of sustained pressure. Now, even when you do all that and do it well, you still got to get one past Giannone, who's playing very well in this tournament. 926 save percentage coming into the game.
Batted back around. Here's Alexiak on it. Skipped by him and back up to center ice. Germany faces 15 shots in the quarterfinal win for the Swiss over Germany as Hagel works that free. Brandon Hagel spins back, drops that back off for Tavares. Throws it back in front, knocked down by Ambiol. Lead pass now for Tristan Scherve. In comes Scherve on Alexiak, waiting for help to arrive. Ambiol tees it up and shoots. And Binnington makes the glove save.
Well, the Swiss team has been around together a lot, and they'll be comfortable getting pressed. You know, they won't panic, they won't feel confused, and they'll work through it because they've been through a lot of these moments together. They know what it feels like, know what they need to do.
Anders Ambiol at 40, the oldest player in the tournament, a couple months older than Patrick Thoresen of Norway.
He's been in more world championships than Connor Bedard has been alive in years. 19 to 18.
An important player for this team.
First power play unit contributor.
He's not a mascot. Here's Fiala with it. Canada has the youngest roster in this tournament. Batted back to center ice. McCann reaching for it, but it's knocked down by Loeffel. Up to Niederreiter. Binnington out to Plante. Slides out to Parayko. Now knocked free by Parayko, who was part of that Canadian team that lost to the Swiss in 2018 in Copenhagen. And a hand pass called at center ice.
Yeah, and you know, it feels like Canada, Switzerland, Canada, of course they should be favored. Of course they should win. That's not really, even though that historically that's how the results have generally gone, as of late, Switzerland has been as good as any team in this tournament, just haven't won maybe the one big game to get like this.
Even at the Olympics, the Swiss have given the Canadians all they could handle in best on best. Didn't think win in Torino over the Canadians. The Swiss have never beaten Canada at the World Junior Championship, however. Goulet back for it. And Cousins tries to work that free. Back down to Goulet. Herzog tries to center it. Severson. Up to Mangiapane, that's picked up by Herzog, walks it in, shoots. Binnington save, and he'll quickly corral the rebound as Herzog was lurking dangerously.
He found himself in a really good spot after a good wall seal. Kind of tries to chip the puck out, gets turned over, and pressure on Jordan Binnington now. Knowing how hard it's going to be to score goals, you got to be really clean. Give your team a chance to grind their way back into the game. Career tournament for Binnington. He hasn't had many shots. A lot of the chances he gets against are really high quality chances against.
Canada came in with the worst save percentage in the tournament as a group.
And yet they're unbeaten, which is hard to imagine.
Here's Berchi, loose behind the Canadian goal. Walks right on the backhand shot. Binnington save, rebound, and Lauser had that blocked away by McBain. Now Bedard back with it. Winds his way out. Connor Bedard works ahead. Turcoff's all over him. And Turcoff takes that away from Bedard. Here's Byram. Swings that back down to the Swiss zone. Giannone out to play it. And now Alexiak goes back. Ambiol with the steal. Works back in on Byram. Anders Ambiol stays on it. He's tied up by Tavares, and a penalty coming to Canada. We're going to get Tavares for the hold, I believe, on Ambul. And the Swiss are going to the power play for the 4th straight time.
Chance previous on the wraparound. Jordan Binnington was all sprawled out as there was all kinds of traffic in his crease. Andrighetto knocks him over. I don't know if that would have counted or not, but Glauser trying to find a hole. And a good block by Bain to make sure that one didn't get there.
His stuff was in his mouth.
That's a hold. Talking about 4 penalties in a row, that's a hold.
Off the face-off, one back to Yossi. As he sure won that draw, Fiala. Kevin Fiala. Hands on the first try, feeds it back to Yossi. Yossi a long shot, knocked away. Yossi a finalist for the Norris Trophy for the 3rd time in his career, won it in 2020. Fiala sends it back across, that's ticked away by Hagel. Move back to Yossi. And Alexiak buried his man Hischier along the wall. Hischier feeds that back to Yossi for Hischier. In shoots, but into the stop, and he'll quickly corral the rebound.
Canada can try to get physical. Swiss players just taking it, popping back up, keeping on playing, and get a shot in on the nets. Brandon Tanev will be thinking about that breakaway in the first period. He had a short-handed, clean breakaway, but wasn't able to beat Giannoni.
Ambul wins the face-off back to Hischier to Yossi. Yossi back across to Fiala. And Fiala feeds it down to Ambul. That's knocked away. And here's Fiala back with it. Centering pass was blocked by Tanev. Pareko steps up. Here's Tanev with it. And Fiala took that away from him. In comes Fiala. Walks in and rolled that wide. Now McBain back on it. Minutes ago in the Swiss power play, picked up by Hischier. Drops that back to Yossi. Yossi to Fiala. Fiala sends it back in front. Ambul poke check by Binnington. And Pareko sends it down.
Good thing. That would have been a wide open net for Niederreiter if Binnington doesn't have the active stick.
Loeffel drops it back to Haas. Gaetan Haas moves in, rings that back around. Andrighetto waiting for it. Andrighetto bangs that back around for Haas. Feeds it for Loeffel. A chance now for Mercer. Dawson Mercer busting in. Short-handed breakaway. In, lifted it wide. Another short-handed break for Canada.
And he had Hagel trailing. If there was a rebound there potentially.
Simeon moving in on Severson. And Simeon taken down. The Swiss are hollering for a penalty. Puck in the feet of Severson. He taps it across to Mercer, who sends it down the ice.
2 clean short-handed breakaways. Nothing to show for it for Canada.
And Tavares steps back on for Canada with Dubois and Bedard, his line mates. And Tavares takes out at center ice. Throws it ahead, picked up by Loeffel, who drops it back for Shervay. Loeffel moves it ahead to Kukan. Brought in now by Shervay, streaking in. On Byram, plays it back in the corner for Berchi. Berchi, rink wide for Kukan. Turkov spins and shoots, bouncing puck in front. Berchi couldn't reach it. 6 gone here in the second period. Berchi back on it. Wrap around try, that's knocked away. Poked back to Kukan with a shot that's blocked by Dubois. The race for it now as Dubois moves in on Siegenthaler. Picked up by Tavares, drops it back for Bedard. Bedard, rink wide pass, finds Pareko with a shot. Giannoni makes the save with Tavares in behind him, and now Turkov throws Tavares down.
Penalty coming up.
And a penalty being called on the play.
And now it's time for
here in the second.
You will vote the point of the game through the official IIHF app that is brought to you by Shootout. You can download the app with this giant QR code. And then you will vote for the fan of the game that is brought to you by Shootout. 2 options, Canada or Switzerland. This is the QR code. And let's vote. Shootout fan of the game. These are the candidates. Hello, Canada. Hello, Schweiz. So, show us some moves. Come on. Cheer. Oh, there are great moves. The nose moves from Canada. And Captain of Schweiz.
Siegenthaler goes for cross-checking, so Canada gets its first power play.
So here you go. You took some penalties, they scored some power play goals. They take a penalty, now you need to respond on the power play for Canada to get on the board.
Canada 6 for 27 on the man advantage in the tournament. Swiss have allowed 9 on 28 opposition attempts. Face-off not done fairly. By the way, Canada comes in as the highest scoring team in the tournament now with 38 goals in 8 games.
And the penalty kill for Switzerland has been the one part of their game that has been substandard. Just hasn't been very good.
Ambuel wins that face-off from Paul. Remember Ambuel taking as many face-offs before.
On the right side, he can really dig in. Never takes him on a soft side.
Here is Power, the quarterback on the power play, drops it off to Cousins. 4 power play goals, time for the tournament lead with Fiala. Back is Power. Owen Power flips it back across to Paul. Nick Paul drops it back to Cousins, flips that back to Power. Across he goes to Tavares. Tavares shoots, and Giannone makes the glove save through the screen of Nick Paul.
Siegenthaler in the box, sweating this one out. He gets a big hit here by Dubois, tangled up, and on the way back to the net, he does a pretty good cross-check right into the kidneys of Dubois. That was after another short-handed breakaway. See, Hagel trailing, was looking for a rebound, maybe even a pass. The Mercer tried to shoot it, just missed wide.
Tavares for the face-off against Turkov, and the puck controlled by the Canadians as Tavares had a stick knocked out of his hand, still made a play, and now Turkov with it. Up ahead for Berchi, shorthanded. And Cousins stepped into him. Berchi still on it. And Cousins takes it back. The tournament goal scoring lead with 8. Cousins plays that ahead. Now Kukin plays it ahead. It's knocked down by Paul. Power. Already a gold medalist for Canada at the World Championship. One of 7 Canadians who's won gold here before. Tavares, Olympic gold medalist, plays it back for Power. Back across to Cousins, snaps that pass for Tavares. And Tavares flips it back to Power. Power shoots, that deflects wide, picked up by Cousins. 45 seconds to go in the power play. Power. Cousins slips that back for Mangiapane. Power back with it. In for Cousins. Dylan Cousins has a look and shoots, just missed high. Bounces back to Tavares. Brings it back in, but it's batted down the ice. A good play by Sven Young, a rarely used Swiss player. 20 seconds to go in the power play. Here's Byram with it. Owen Byram winds his way ahead for Bunting. Bunting trying to look back for Byram. That was knocked down and set up by Glauser. Bedard flips it ahead to McCann. Final seconds now of the power play. At the point is Byram. Feeds it across to Bunting. Moves it and shoots. And Giannone got a piece of that. At the line, Byram holds it as Siegenthaler steps back on. Dubois spins away. Pierre-Luc Dubois feeds that back to Severson. Back for Dubois, moves in. Dubois with a chance, shoots, that's blocked by Yossi. Bouncing puck goes back to Severson. Tired Swiss players on the ice now. Siegenthaler, one of the fresh ones, is just out of the box, and Bunting was knocked down from behind by Glauser. Turkov bumps it back down to the Canadian zone. Shots 5 for Switzerland here in the second period. Overall, 20-12, the shot advantage for the Swiss. Severson, lead pass for Tanev. In comes Brandon Tanev, and it's poked away by Loeffel. Tanev works that free and feeds that back at the point for Severson. Back across to Gouli. Winds and shoots, that's blocked by Hischier. Gouli gets it back. Slides it down to Tanev for McBain with a shot, that's just wide. The puck skips off the glass, up and out.
Not a whole lot going on in the power play for Canada. A couple decent looks as it expired. But again, you see how well Switzerland recovers and gets into shooting lanes, even when they're a little tired, even when they've been in their own edge. Blocking shots and not asking Giannone to do too much. It's been a frustrating half game. One shot, Canada's one shot away from being right in the mix of it, so no panic yet.
McCann wins the face-off back to Hagel. Gunther drops it off to Gouli with a shot. Giannone steers that up and out. Giannone, a decorated Swiss goaltender, 7 times Swiss champion, 6 times Swiss League goalie of the year.
Certainly not going to be phased by the moment.
The concern in Switzerland is they've increased their import quota from 4 to 6, and a lot of teams have opted to bring in import goaltenders. The concern that Swiss goalies won't get a chance to develop. So there were 7 Swiss players in the NHL this year. Only one was a goalie, Akira Schmid, with New Jersey, who spent part of the year in the American League.
Well, their starting goalie in this tournament is 36, which is getting up there, right?
10 Swiss players in the league this year. One was Schmid. But for the longest time, goalies were the backbones of Swiss international teams. Ambuel takes that pass from Siegenthaler. Works in, Andres Ambuel shoots, just missed short side. Glauser couldn't hold the line. Now picked up by Severson. Long pass ahead for Gunther, who chips that down to the Swiss zone as Siegenthaler goes back. Gives it back around for Glauser. Knocked down by Hagel. Flips that to Gunther. And banks it back to McCann. And McCann's pass goes off the skate of Glauser and back down the ice. Vincent slides that across to Alexiak. Upper center ice, knocked down by Andrea Glauser. Alexiak chops that down. There's Simeon playing it back in past the midway point of the second period. Bunting back with it. Plays it back to Cousins. The Swiss with a 2-0 lead thanks to 2 first-period power play goals. Bunting slides that back to Alexiak. Down to Bunting. Alexiak back across to Zellweger. Zellweger shoots. That's blocked by Simeon. Zellweger goes back after it. Cousins works it loose in the corner. And Dylan Cousins pivots back on Herzog. And again, Cousins slides that back to Zellweger, able to hold the line along. Wrist shot floats wide. Central are waiting for it. A bump there by Bunting. Mangiapane tied up along the boards by Centler. Moves it back down to Cousins. Cousins throws it back in front, just missed Bunting. Zellweger, a backdoor pass that was knocked away from Cousins by Yossi. Now Zellweger back with it. Zellweger up ahead to Tavares. And Bedard goes after. Turkov's got a stick on Bedard. And now Luffel falls on him. Bedard being cross-checked there by Luffel. And Dubois picks it back out. So another shift for Bedard. Now the penalty coming to the Swiss. As Dubois was hooked, Bedard touched by Andrighetto, and so Canada goes back to the power play with 8:16 to go here in the second.
Guys, there's a short break from the hockey. It's time for dance. Let me introduce you our mascot and amazing dancer, Whoa! It's your showtime!
Hooking penalty goes to Switzerland's Romain Luffel, so Canada goes back on the power play here.
Getting much going on in the first one. Have to try to find a way to connect a little better this time around.
Paul wins that face-off back to Power, holds the line. Owen Power swings that rink wide. In comes Tavares, winds and shoots, and Giannone got a piece of that to knock it off the glass, up and out.
It's hard. Tavares is far out. He's got a hard time scoring from there as Pierre-Luc Dubois draws his second consecutive penalty against him. He's so strong protecting the puck. He gets defenders in awkward spots, and Wayne Lawful gets a stick in there. He's like, all right, look, there it is. Hook in my hands.
Almost like the bull rider lifted the one hand and
making sure it's clear to the official that he's hooking me.
now Tavares for the face-off against Heishier. 2 first overalls going at it. Long time apart. Tavares works it back in, has a look. Tavares pivots away from Gaetan Haas. In for Paul, back to Power. Owen Power has a look and shoot. That was blocked by Haas. He gave a stick to a defenseman. Now Tavares a shot and Giannone makes the save.
No stick on Haas, the top forward going. You really have to try to exploit that. Haas is hot because Mangiapane knocked the stick out of his hand. But you got to find a way to go through a seam. That's a tremendous block without a stick. Like kick save and a beauty, like Gaetan Haas. That's the kind of effort and commitment you're getting. And Tavares, yes, great shooter, but no screen. You'll take your chances on Giannone saving that puck. When it's not a one-timer, he doesn't have to move laterally. It's just hard to beat a goalie from that distance.
At the point, here is Power. Back to Tavares. John Tavares swings it down to Paul, walks back up, poke check there by Fora. Tavares back after it. Racing to it is Cousins. Cousins shields off Marty. Batting for it is Paul, Mangiapane and Cousins in there as well. They finally work free. Mangiapane tries to drop that back. It's picked up by Turkov. He's got Berchi with him, shorthanded. In comes Berchi. Drops it back off for Turkov, who spins back, and Turkov poke check there by Paul, and Canada works it ahead.
Now Berchi fresher wins the race.
45 seconds to go on this Canadian power play. In comes Glauser. Puts that wide of the goal, picked up by Turkov with a shot that's blocked by Power. And now Bedard on it. Connor Bedard winds through the Swiss defenders and moves into the offensive zone. Plays that down to Bunting. Michael Bunting banks it back to Zellweger. Skips off his stick. Sherbeck can fly. And Zellweger knocked that away. Bunting rink wide to Bedard. 20 seconds to go on the power play. In comes Bedard. Flips it back down to Dubois. There goes Dubois. Rink wide he goes. And that pass misses McCann and comes back to center ice. Zellweger to Bedard. Zellweger chips it back ahead. Final seconds of the power play. Bank back at the point. Dubois is holding as Lawful comes back on. And Dubois tried to center it. Taken away by Yossi. Bedard holds the line and feeds it down to Dubois. Bunting with it. Leaves it there for McCann. Canada changing. Centering pass for Dubois as he chips it back in the corner. Inside 6 to go in the period. Zellweger, long wrist shot, tips a couple of times in front. They score! Brandon Tanev gets a touch. And Canada's back within a goal. And the first even strength goal allowed by the Swiss in 7 games.
And one Canada had to have. Dubois holds off Sensler, gets it back to the point, and watch this bouncy puck. Tip off a Swiss body, off of Tanev, and Tanev goes to put it in the back door, and it hits the defender lying on the ground. Glauser, his skate. Thank you very much, Jamie Oleksiak, for being down there pushing and shoving. And that forces Glauser to the ground, and the lucky bounce for Tanev in Canada. Right back there, 1 away. 2-1 down late in the second.
Oleksiak sends out ahead for Glauser. Dubois and Zellweger get the assists on the goal. So Owen Zellweger has 5 assists in the tournament. He plays about 7 minutes a game. In comes Gunther. Played back across for Paul, and Nick Paul lays that back down to the Swiss zone as Kukan has it back. Spins away from Hagel. Kukan, a former Columbus Blue Jacket, goes rink wide to Siegenthaler. Lets that back down to the Canadian zone as Binnington leaves it there for Parayko. And Colton Parayko shields off Andrighetto. Lead pass now for Gunther. Dylan Gunther works in. Gunther, one of 9 Canadians who's won a World Junior Gold Medal in the last 5 years. Very young Canadian team. McBain plays it back in as Berchi goes after it. Hagel steps into him and wins the battle for the puck. Hagel taken down by Berchi. And now McBain moves in. six-man battle for the puck, won by Mercer. McBain, a backhand shot, and Giannoni hangs on to that. Another scrum ensues. 4:39 to go here in the second period. Canada's back within one.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what are we going to do for the next power break? It will be maybe a motion showdown, or can or showtime for someone else in the house. But it will be someone's showtime. So, are you ready for your showtime? So the stairs are just for you.
All-time attendance records have been broken at the World Championship already. Wow. That was through the first semifinal game. The record was set in Czechia in 2015, Prague and Ostrava. And they might top 800,000 total for the tournament. In comes Gaetan Haas with a chance now. Bumped there by Severson. He lost the puck in the corner. Severson back with it. Another factor here late in periods. It is warm in Prague and warm in this building. Mercer knocked that down at center ice. A bump by Shervay. And picked up by Severson. Banks it ahead for Brandon Tanev. Tanev back on it. Now McBain, bumped by Yossi. Picked up by Tanev. And
the official got clipped and he's hurt.
Yeah, the official got hit up high. That's Jan Rybik of Czechia. Tanev wasn't sure why they
as
blew
intense
play.
as he is, he's like, why are you blowing that down?
Canadian therapist Dom Nicoletta comes out.
Puck comes back around and
Tanev.
Did he hurt his shoulder?
Kind of bumped into him.
And now Brandon Tanev in a nice gesture saying, sorry about that. Trying to get to the puck, not trying to hit you.
The face-off in the Czech zone.
Work that one out. I don't know. I don't think you blow that down. You're an official. You gotta hang in there. Plays the offensive end, man. You gotta hang in there. It's like a player. You just can't blow it down when you get a little shaken up.
Cousins for the face-off against Berchi. Here's Byram. Moved along the boards. Cousins back after it. And Turkov with it. Kukan plays it around for Berchi. And Kukan plays it ahead for Turkov. Turkov centers it. Kukan in a backhand shot, stopped by Bennington. First good chance for the Swiss in a while. Shots are 10-5 Canada here in the second period. Mangiapane goes after Siegenthaler. And now Glauser back with it. Turkov trying to shoot that ahead. He was knocked off the puck by Bunting. Pareko goes across to Power. Owen Power winds his way in on Niederreiter. Power fall. Tavares comes in to help out. Tavares trying to poke that free. Power in there as well. Now Hagel centered it, but it's picked off by Fiala. Lead pass for Hischier, moving on to Dubois defending. And Dubois, good job to knock that away. Glauser goes back, icing waved off against Canada. Hischier takes the long lead pass. Works it on Goulet defending. Hischier back with it. Knocked down by Goulet. And Goulet flips that for Dubois. Outlets for Pareko jumping up. In comes Colton Pareko. Banks it off the corner boards for Tavares. And Tavares spins back, throws it back in front. Chance there for Gunther, couldn't get a shot away. Gunther pokes it free for Hagel. Tavares back on it, knocked away as Fora races to it. And Gooley had jumped up to knock that away from Fora, but that broke Gooley's stick. And it's brought ahead by Sentler. That lead pass is broken up by Severson, who jumped up on Simeon. Back comes McCann the other way. McCann with a shot that was blocked by Yossi. McCann shoots, that floats wide. Picked up by Paul. Skating through that debris, Paul. Plays it back around for McCann. That missed, and now Byram's got to race back with Fiala bearing in on him. Away comes Byram. Back for Severson. Tanev chips it down. And Giannoni will freeze that with Gunther bearing in. 1:31 to go here in the second period.
Last rush by Switzerland. Chance by Kukan. Bennington hasn't had much to do, but been pretty sharp. There's a couple power play goals. Switzerland has been in their own end. The two penalties have not helped, but they've been defending for most of the second period.
Bain for the face-off against Haas. Haas wins that back to Siegenthaler, up for Scherve. Justin Scherve, Swiss Olympian back in 2018. Andres Andio, by the way, is a 5-time Swiss Olympian, the last 5 Olympic Games. Don't bet against him in 26 either. Siegenthaler ranges back. At the point, Zellweger can't hold it, skips off his stick, and Ambul is bearing in on him. The 20-year-old Zellweger being chased by the 40-year-old Ambul. Chipped ahead, and Mercer races to it for Canada. Rolling puck, pokes it back around to McBain. Now McBain back with it. Kukan bounces off him as McBain plays it back to Perico with a shot that's blocked by Andrighetto.
How many point shots have been blocked by the forwards?
Andrighetto pokes it free for Berchi. Walks in, shoots. Perico blocked that power back the other way. Flips it ahead for Mangiapane. He's got Cousins with him 2-on-2. Mangiapane winds in. Works back in, drops it back. Perico with a rocket that goes wide. Get about a 5-foot run at that. And now Power throws that towards the goal. Through the screen of Brunton, kicked out by Giannoni. Still loose behind the goal, and Perico's jumped up for Canada. Behind the back, Perico tries to play that back around, finds Bunting. Shoots, Giannoni kicks it out. 10 seconds to go in the period. Glauser with it. And Cousins works it free. Back in front for Perico. That shot was partly blocked by Yossi. And Canada gets one in the second period from Brandon Tanev. And now a 2-1 game after 40 minutes of play. The semifinals of the 2024 World Hockey Championship.
Well, only one goal margin. There's still better inhibition for the second period. What a game by both teams, by Canada and also by Team Switzerland. Nothing is decided yet, but Team Switzerland is closer to the final games of the 2024 IIHF Ice Hockey World Championship. Well, we did a wonderful intermission program ready for you.
světa ve fandě Raiffeisen Bank, samozřejmě.
A nyní prosím, polipte nevěstu.
start your amazing crowd once again in the Prague Arena. 1 period and 2 games to go at the 2024 IIHF Ice Hockey World Championship in Prague, and this drama will be over. We will miss you. We will miss the tunes. We will miss the players. We will miss the drama. We will miss everything, to be honest. But now let's focus on the final period. Here are the highlights of the second period, Canada, Switzerland. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the arena, defending world champions, Team Canada! Oh yes, it's time to welcome back Team Switzerland!
Bennington's allowed 2 goals on 23 shots so far. Canada outshot the Swiss 13-6 in the second period. Leonard was busy, allowed the 1 goal to Brandon Tanev and off a teammate skate. And so the Swiss start the third period with a 2-1 lead. Austin Mercer had a shorthanded breakaway in the second period. Brandon Tanev had one in the first. Won the round robin meeting 3-2 6 days ago.
Come on, back. Let's take down.
And away we go with the third. The winner gets Czechia in the gold medal game tomorrow. The loser will face Sweden for the bronze earlier in the day. Tanev has the puck under him and takes a poke there from Berchi, but play is finally called. The face-off will be in the Canadian zone.
Brandon Tanev is just his expressions. He's a level engaged. He's got this one underneath him. Now, this is what you should do. If you're not going to blow the whistle, you're going to get dug at. So the referee's either going to blow the whistle or expect to be speared. That's how it goes. You may not like it, but that's how it goes.
Gooley chips it back around to Severson. Eamon Severson plays it back down to the Swiss zone. Siegenthaler goes back, being watched there by Hagel. And Hagel tries to work that free. Dubois and Tavares' line mates. Here's Tavares with a chance. Shoot! Generally pad save. Hagel wraparound, turned away. Hagel throws it back in front. The rebound put wide by Tavares. Oh, what a chance there in the opening moments for Canada here in the third as the Swiss ice the puck.
Oh, Tavares cannot believe it. That he did not stuff this rebound home. Quick shot on net. Hagel gets the rebound, looks for the wraparound, and it's a great save by Giannoni to come across. But this one right there, Tavares has the angle. It's rolling a little bit, but he's got to shovel it upstairs, and he just goes right across the front of the net over the bar.
Off the face-off. Poke back to Kukan. Dean Kukan spent 6 years in the NHL with Columbus. Guy playing for Zurich this year. We won a Swiss championship for that powerhouse franchise. Cousins up to Mangiapane for bunting. And of course, with foreign players largely refusing to play in the KHL, the Swiss League has improved dramatically in recent years. Parayko shoots. That's knocked away. Glauser lost his stick. Parayko knocks down the puck, but it's poked back to center ice for Hischier. Stolen by Power. Owen Power, lead pass for Mangiapane, wanding in with bunting. Mangiapane a long shot, knocked away by Giannoni. And Fiala back with it. Evan Fiala will open the scoring in the power play in the first period. Drops it back to Hischier, flips it back for Fiala. Now picked up by Marty with a shot. Binnington makes the stop and hangs on.
Giannoni probably thinks, yeah, I'm going to be pretty busy in the third period. And he gets, it hits his face. That hit his face. Anywhere upstairs, the puck's in the back of the net. Tavares rings it off the helmet. Oh my goodness. Captain cannot believe it.
Face off in the Canadian zone. Canada trying to advance to the gold medal game for the 8th time in the last 9 years. Lead pass for Bedard is out there with Paul and McCann now. Marty moves that back down to the Canadian zone. Binnington back to play it. Slides it back around to Alexiak. Marty plays it back in. The puck goes over the glass and out of play. And through 2 periods of play, Jimmy Alexiak, Canada's leader in minutes played.
This will be a pretty good test for the mentality of Switzerland. Their idea is, we want to keep attacking, we want to play, we want to make plays. Right. We're good enough to not just sit back. They have to be smart, defend appropriately, but their best chance to win will not be to go 5 man in the neutral zone and try to defend for 18 more minutes.
McBain for the face-off against Hischier. Face-off bounces back to Tanev along with Mercer. Dawson Mercer chomps that down to the Swiss zone where Tanev gets there first. Throws it back in front. The puck shot rolled wide by McBain. Now Hischier back with it. Hischier races in. The pass goes off the skate of Mercer to McBain, and Canada back the other way. Lead pass from Mercer knocks that down. Looks back around for Tanev. And Tanev with it. The puck was in the referee's skates. And Niederreiter picks it free. Niederreiter. Pumped there by McBain. Byram back for Alexiak. Jamie Alexiak works in. Leads that back around. The puck at the referee skates again. And now lifted out by Yossi. Severson rink wide for Hagel. Throws it ahead for Tavares. Severson leaves it there for Tavares winding in. Tavares drops it back to Hagel with a shot. And that was blocked by Glauser. Hagel back on it. Walks out of the corner. Hagel still on it. Got poke check there by Ambule, and the puck comes out. Goulet up for Hagel. Severson threads that ahead for Dubois. And Dubois moves away from Marty. Pierre-Luc Dubois back in for Hagel. Drops it back. Tavares, a sharp angle shot, stopped by Giannoni. Here's Tavares back with it, down to Hagel. And Yossi lifts it back around. Severson tries to knock it down. The puck loose in front of the Swiss bench. It's picked free by Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois. Backhand shot towards the goal, knocked down and Dubois with a chance that was blocked by Shervay.
Goulet popping out the back door from behind the net.
Severson across to Hagel as Canada's changing. Hagel walks in, tried to center it. Goulet walks it again and shoots. Giannoni makes the save on that. And Fora lifts it back down to the Canadian zone as Team Canada completes a change. Severson for Mangiapane. Out there with Cousins and Bunting. Mangiapane rink wide to Michael Bunting. He was knocked down from behind by Turkov, and a penalty coming to Switzerland. So Bunting taken in by Turkov, and with 15:57 to go in the third period. Canada's going back to the power play.
Turcoff doesn't like it. Had some words for Bunting. On the way to the box, Bunting dumps it in and puts the stick right into the back. Bunting is very good at drawing penalties. We've seen many times. And Team Canada, who not looked dangerous on the power play, go to work again as they have gone right back to the offensive zone play to start the third period. It's a good sign, but the power play has been the difference in the game so far. 2 goals for Switzerland, none for Canada.
Hall, Cousins, Mangiapane, Tavares, the forwards on the power play. Power, the defenseman, as Paul steps in for the faceoff against Haas, wins it cleanly back to Power. Owen Power, back across to Cousins. Cousins back to Power, has a look. Owen Power long wrist shot. Giannone makes the save. The rebound drops down. Kukan sends it back down the ice. Giannone wasn't sure where that was for a moment. As Power's back to pick it up. Owen Power, the Mississauga, Ontario native, winds in, drops it off for Tavares. And Tavares plays it back for Cousins. Cousins down to Tavares. Tavares shovels that back for Cousins. For Tavares in, shoots. Giannone the save, but there's no rebound. As Mangiapane was right there looking for a loose puck.
Good entrance. Their full possession set up right away as Tavares trying to find his second goal of the tournament. He has a really solid tournament so far.
9 points in 7 games coming in.
The puck movement's got to still get a little bit quicker to beat Giannone on one of these shots, or it's got to be an exceptional shot.
Tavares versus Sentler for the face-off, and Tavares wins that cleanly back to Power. In for Tavares, back to Power. Looks across to Cousins with a shot, and Giannone got a piece of that. The puck goes up and out, and that staggered Giannone.
Why'd they blow the whistle? Cousins one-timer to get up to the mesh off his helmet. I thought it hit the glass. And they blew it for his reaction. That used to be a rule. Any shot to the helmet would be a whistle, which has now been changed.
Yeah, Giannone's been adjusting that mask all night. Now Paul for the face-off, but it's won by Haas, and Heischer has it. Wrist that back down. As Power goes back, Binnington back to play it. Swings it around to Cousins. Up ahead for Mangiapane. For Tavares. Tavares drops it back. Cousins' shot goes off the stick of Shervay, up and out of play.
Well, first unit works through a minute of the power play. Couple decent looks as Owen Power done a little bit of everything on this team. He wasn't necessarily going to be the quarterback of the power play, but he's taken on that role as well. Canada probably doesn't have a true NHL power play quarterback on their roster currently. Paul Byron may become one, but
Dubois, Bunting, Gunther, and Bedard, the forwards, with Byram on the back end. And Heischer wins that face-off for Siegenthaler. Back around for Berchi, and Berchi sends it down.
I want Tavares out there every time there's a face-off. It's just such an advantage.
45 seconds to go on the power play. Byram drops it back for Bedard. In comes Connor Bedard, chips it across for Gunther. Drops it back to Byram, moves around Ambule. And Gunther plays it back around for Bedard. Connor Bedard slides that back for Bunting. Drops it back to Bedard, to the point to Byram. Byram to Bedard. Has a look, walks in, and Bedard spins that back to Bunting. 20 seconds to go on the power play. Gunther swings it back to Byram. Across to Bedard. Has a look. Threads it back across to Gunther. Byram. Gunther feeds it back down. Dubois moves it and shoots. Stopped by Giannone close in, and now it's moved down the ice by Kukan.
Well, he's got more time than he knows down that goal line.
Both teams are playing.
The penalty to Turcoff is over as Dubois steams in. Rolling puck in front, poked away by Yossi. Picked back up by Bunting. Parayko, a long shot. Giannone saved. The puck is loose for a moment, and Giannone pounces on that. 13:44 to go here in the third period. Switzerland still leading Canada 2-1.
Let's take a look at another example from the sea. Range activity. We're gonna do for the next couple seconds. It seems to be confident of all emoji challenge. Well, your task is to do right the same as our emojis. Perfect job! Come on, breathe! I want to believe in smile. Good job. Yes, that's the way. That's the way. That's the way.
Face off in the Swiss zone. Canada trailing 2-1. Swiss scored 2 power play goals in the first period. Canada beat the Swiss 3-2 in the earlier round. Scoring 3 power play goals in that game. Off the draw, Turkov won that draw back to Marty. Here's Michael Fora with it. Up for Berchi, rink winding goes for Turkov. And Turkov winds in. Bennington down as Turkov goes after, being shouted at by Severson. That long shot by Glauser was blocked, but Berchi has it back. Pivots back along the board. Berchi back down to Andrighetto. Andrighetto tied up there by Gooley, who throws him down. McCann back on it. Leaves it back for Severson. Gunther chips it ahead for Hagel. In comes Brandon Hagel. A little pass for Gunther missed. Now Andrighetto drops that back to Yossi. Roman Yossi brings it back around. Power up ahead for Tanev, who has the Canadian goal. Brandon Tanev moves that ahead for Mercer. That's knocked away. And Fiala quickly ahead for Hischier as the Swiss break in. 3-on-2. Fiala. Centering pass was knocked away by Parayko with a long reach. Tanev gets to it and chips out the center ice for Mercer, but it skipped away from him. Kukan for Fiala, who slaps it back down to the Canadian zone. Niederreiter gathers it back up. Down to Hischier, centers, and it was knocked away. Another chance in front. Bennington save on Fiala. Siegenthaler winds. Fiala with a chance. That's blocked by Parayko. Might have been an open net. And now Fiala back with it. Feeds that back down to Niederreiter. Good pressure now from the Swiss. Kukan with it. Kukan. Penalty coming now to Canada. Fiala shoots. That goes wide. And Hischier back on it. Niederreiter tied up there by McBain. Canada touches up with 12-11 to go. In the third period, Jack McBain will go off for Canada.
First time in the offensive zone, and Kevin Fiala ends up with the puck all alone. One shot there, and then this look, and you're right, it would have been an empty netter, but Colt Parayko, like old Zellweger the other night, gets a stick in the way, almost accidentally. Oh man, that was about to stuff it in the empty net. Right after that, Jack McBain picked up the penalty for interference, taking down Nino Niederreiter. The power play that's got both their goals go back to work.
Swiss had 4 straight power plays in the game. And Canada couple. Now the Swiss back to the man advantage. Cousins for the face-off. Way back to Parayko. Bouncing puck goes to Alexiak. He can't clear it out. But now Hagel has some time, and Brandon Hagel moves ahead with Cousins. In comes Brandon Hagel on Sven Andrighetto defending. Hagel trying to drop that back. It's picked up by Herzog. Maurice Herzog moves in. Andrighetto rink wide for Haas. That penalty came at the end of a shift for the Hischier line. Lawful back around for Andrighetto. Andrighetto winds and shoots, trying to find a stick of Herzog. And now Haas with a shot that was off the leg of Hagel. Lawful back for Andrighetto. Lawful loves to shoot it. Now it's centered. Herzog a chance. That's blocked by Hagel. Haas back with it. Back for Lawful to Andrighetto. Little slap pass for Herzog. Bouncing puck in front, picked up by Cousins. And Cousins lifts that back down to the Swiss zone as Canada gets fresh killers on the ice, and out come the big boys for Switzerland. Yossi up for Hischier. And Yossi in for Fiala. That's poke checked away. Tanev reaching for it. Here comes Brandon Tanev, shorthanded again. But Fiala took that away. Now a lead pass goes to Niederreiter. In comes Nino Niederreiter. And a diving Severson blocked that passing lane. Gooley gets to it. Around to Severson. And Severson with time squeezes that back to center ice. 35 seconds to go on the Swiss power play. Josi. And that puck hit the stanchion, the curved stanchion of the Canadian bench, and play is called.
Good kill so far. First 90 seconds done for Canada. It's really been three guys who play at the top. It's Fiala, it's Josi, it's Hischier. And they have a great feel for each other. At the top of the power play umbrella. Get through the next 30 seconds and get right back to work on the offensive end.
Now worked free by Niederreiter. Drops that back to Hischier. A rink wide pass for Ambul missed. The puck skips way up high in the air off the kick plate of the boards. And there's Hagel on it. That pass almost picked off there by Niederreiter. Parayko back with it. Niederreiter got a stick on it. Now Power has it. Looking ahead for Hagel. That pass is broken up at center ice by Hischier. Up to Fiala. Final seconds of the power play. Bennington knocks it down. Drops it back to Power. As McBain steps out of the box. In comes McBain. Drops it off for Tavares. And Tavares loose in the corner with it. Drops that back. Picked up by Turcotte. For Enriquetto. That's stolen by Dubois at center ice. And Zellweger has it back for Canada. Zellweger to Dubois. Chipped back down to the Swiss zone. Berchi goes back with Dubois moving in on him. And Dubois worked that freight for Bedard. Another shift for Bedard with Tavares and Dubois. And Zellweger steps up to keep it alive. At the point, Dubois. Rink wide now for Bedard. And Connor Bedard crunched there by Berchi from behind. Berchi picks it back up, and Bedard slow to get to his feet. And Rigetto thumped there by Dubois. And Bedard makes his way to the Canadian bench as Cousins comes on. Dylan Cousins winds his way in. Cousins drops it back. Byram in, shoots, and Giannone makes the save. Here's Cousins with it. Feeds that back to Zellweger. A wrist shot. Giannone to stop on that. Byram steps up as Marty tried to work it freight. Now Herzog bumps it back down to the Canadian zone. Severson rink wide for Bunting. Up for Mangiapane. Crisp pass ahead for Cousins, winding in. Dylan Cousins pivots back. Mangiapane centers it. Back in front. Gooley with a chance. That was blocked by Simeon. The rebound put wide by Bunting. Bunting back with it for Mangiapane. Rings it back around for Severson. Damon Severson. Lays it back down to Mangiapane. Feeds it back to Gooley with a shot. That was blocked by Simeon. Gooley pokes it back ahead. Now picks up the rolling puck, but it's knocked away by Sentler. Severson from Millville, Saskatchewan. With Canada changing, winds his way out, gains center ice, and moves out ahead for Gunther. Dylan Gunther goes in on Josi. Back around to McCann for Severson. His shot ramps off a stick, up and out of play. 8:07 to go here in the third period. Switzerland still up by 1.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, today's attendance for the game between Canada and Switzerland is once again over 10,000. It is 11,159. And there is another important message, and I would like to thank a very special group of people. They are dressed in the yellow jerseys, and they are the Volunteers. And let me introduce you to Karen Mikova. She is our volunteer of the day. Congratulations, Karen! And it's not an honor, Karen. It's an honor. These are volunteers. Without you, this event wouldn't be possible. Thank you! Dziękujemy wszem, dobrowolnikom za to, że nasi organizacji najúspěšnější mistrovství světa i hádání hokej v historii. Děkujeme vám mnohokrát!
8:06 to go here in the third period. The shots are 9-2 Canada in the third. It remains 2-1 Switzerland. Paul, Gunther, McCann come up for Canada. Turcotte to take the face-off. for the Swiss. The face-off not done fairly. Face-off won by Turkov. Kukan being harassed there by McCann. The puck held for the moment, but now moved ahead by Turkov for Berchi. At center ice, Alexiak knocked that down. Berchi feeds it across for Turkov. Turkov, a backhand shot, stopped by Bennington. Alexiak lifts it high in the air. Turkov gloved it down. And Paul chips that back to Jamie Alexiak. Back around to Bowen Byram. And Rigetto back to Turkov. Niederreiter back on it. And now Paul around to McCann. Plays it back for Byram. Bowen Byram works in. Byram winds his way in. Slings that back down for Gunther. Hagel steps up on Siegenthaler, who slides that by him, and it's moved down the ice by Niederreiter. But again, it's icing against the Swiss.
Well, you get an icing. Offensive zone faceoff trying to close the gap after Kevin Fiala was an instrumental part of the first couple goals. Here's a one-timer for him, just blows it by Jordan Binnington to open the scoring, and then turns the favor to Roman Josi, who has his shot tipped by Niederreiter, and Kevin Fiala continues to pad his lofty point totals in this tournament. But every icing allows Canada now throwing Tavares on for an offensive zone faceoff where he's been so good.
Against Hischier, he wins it. Hagel taps that back to Power. Hagel back across to Parayko with a wrist shot. Goes off the skate of Hischier. Now poked out by Niederreiter again. Brought up by Brandon Hagel. Chips it ahead for Dubois. Josi lifts it back out for Shervay. And Tristan Shervay winds in. Tavares in there battling. Parayko comes in on Shervay. And at the line, helped by Ambuel, looking down for Shervay. Loose puck at the side of the goal, picked up by Gaetan Haas. Now Dubois knocked that away. And Pierre-Luc Dubois moves out to center ice. Dubois going to shovel that ahead. Tavares comes back to pick it up as Canada completes a change. Severson lines ahead, chips that ahead for McBean. In comes Jack McBean, takes the return pass but can't get the shot away on the pass from Tanev. McBean in deep, looks down to Mercer. Mercer back to Severson. Across he goes to Cooley with a long wrist shot, bouncing puck in front. Tanev reaching for it, knocked away by Fora. Now move back to center ice where Tanev is back to pick it up. For Severson, in comes Damon Severson, winds and shoots. Shidoni save, and he quickly corrals the rebound with McBean's stick just inches away from that. 5:54 to go here in the third. Still 2-1 Switzerland. Inside 6 to go here in the third. And applying the pressure. Shots are 11-3 here in the period. Still 2-1 Switzerland. Cousins up with a face-off against Turkov. And Cousins wins that draw back to Mangiapane. Across he goes to Zellweger. Zellweger shoots. Giannoni save. Rebound loose in front. And Bunting couldn't reach it. Berchi plays it back out for the Swiss. Byram for Cousins. Rink wide, he goes to Mangiapane. Andrew Mangiapane drops that back to Byram. Wade back around to Bunting. And Bunting shovels it back for Cousins. The puck skipped away from him. And Rigetto to it. Back to center ice, Turkov. Ricks it on Zellweger. Now Turkov, ridden off the puck, has a look back as the Swiss are changing, plays it back around for Haas. Eitan Haas plays it back in deep for Sherway, taken away by Zellweger. And Zellweger to Cousins. Rink wide pass broken up by Hischier, and the play's offside at the Canadian line.
Down in the last 5 now, Andre Tourigny's got to start thinking about missed opportunities throughout the game. That was shorthanded, good save. That was another shorthanded breakaway from Tanev. A third shorthanded chance, now for Mercer. And those calls, Gironi, the only one that's gotten by him was one that went in off his own defender. And that he has been so sharp.
Back goes Power for it. Harassed there by Simeon, who works that free. Now Herzog plays that back for Glauser to Yossi. Yossi shoots. Roman Yossi, one of the Swiss players who played on both their silver medal winning teams in 2013 and 2018. There's 3 of them, including backup goaltender Reto Berra, who's actually their 3rd goaltender here. Pareko drops it back for Bedard. In comes Connor Bedard with a look. Bedard throws it back in front. It's off the skate and picked back up. Bedard drops it back. Power a chance. That deflects just wide as McCann was standing at the side of the goal. McCann plays that back to Power. Power back in for Pareko. Chips that down to Paul. Paul plays it back around to Bedard. Bedard for Power with a chance. Giannoni save. Rebound loose in front. Giannoni sprawls. The puck still loose. Picked out by Paul. Now gathered up by Yossi. And Yossi calmly skates it back up, chips that down the Canadian zone as Pareko goes back. Icing waved off. 2 more close chances for Canada. Bedard winds his way in. Bedard going to chip that back across. It's broken up by Berchi and chipped ahead. Severson knocked down Berchi. Now brought ahead by Hagel out there with Tavares and Dubois. Severson in, shoots, and only a pad save. Turkov flips it back down to the Canadian zone, and once again, icing called against the Swiss.
Close calls from Canada around Giannoni. Bedard starts working his magic, and he creates a chance. McCann, he's got Power team right up. He just can't get it through all the bodies. There's so many chances. Good save by Giannoni there on the rebound. It stays above the goal line. Maybe Power can tuck it in, but give Giannoni credit. Gets back with the paddle. Get just enough of it.
Tavares for the face-off against Berchi. Scramble draw. Tavares pokes out. He's down. And now Giannoni will eat that up as Hagel was looking for the loose puck. Maybe another face-off in the offensive zone for Canada. 14-3 the shots in favor of Canada here in the period as the Canadian families look on.
Canada's made a good push. They've had 40 minutes of being in the offensive zone. And that guy right there deserves a ton of credit. 35 of 36. And the guys in front of him.
Swiss goalie. Evie Zug now in the Swiss league. Tavares against Haas. And Eitan Haas wins that draw. Siegenthaler though lost the puck to Dubois. Back in front, a chance for Hagel. Giannoni save. And the puck squirts by Gooley at the point. Back down to the zone he goes to pick it up. Gooley for Severson. Lifts that back down to the Swiss zone. Kukan back with it for Tavares. Feeds that back down to Dubois. A chance back in front for Hagel.
Straight out.
That goes straight out. And that's going to be a penalty against the Swiss. Canada's going to the power play here with 3:06 to go in the 3rd period. Delay of game will be the call against Switzerland.
Chris Ambiel.
2 minutes game.
Dubois just powers this one to the net. And all the chaos that ensues, keeping pucks loose, and Ambiel wants to get it out of there. He just sails straight into the crowd. So a power play, I'm probably going to call a timeout here for Canada. Here's the earlier chance. Hagel wide alone in front. Giannoni doesn't even have his stick properly held in his hand and still managed to turn aside Brandon Hagel.
So the veteran Ambiel playing in his 140th World Championship game. That's the record. In his record 19th tournament. Now he'll sit for a long 2 minutes or less in the box. Paul, Bedard, Cousins, Tavares the forward, Power on the back end. Berchi for the face-off. Won by Paul. Moved back by Bedard. Connor Bedard walks right in. Feeds it back across. It's skipped away from Tavares. Here's Tavares back with it. Down to Paul. Nick Paul works in. Dips back and Paul. Being shadowed by Berchi. Lines that back to Power. Back for Tavares. Works it and shoots. That was blocked. Bouncing puck back in the slot. Reaching forward is Cousins. Cousins flips it back to Bedard. Bedard walks in. Shoots. Stopped by Giannoni. And at the line, held by Power. 2.5 to go in the period. Bedard winds it again. Bedard sends it back in front. That was blocked by Turcoff, but the line is held by Power. Owen Power winds in. Now Power back with it. Bedard's back at the point. Crisscrossing now with Power. Back to Bedard. And now Bedard winds in. Feeds it down to Tavares. Shoots, scores! Done! Tavares power play goal! Ties it up with 2:07 to go! And the captain comes through again.
Power play finally clicks for Canada, and Tavares catches Giannoni thinking pass. Giannoni's got his stick going out towards Nick Paul. Connor Bedard working his magic, instrumental in this. But watch Giannoni. He's thinking, I'm going to deflect this pass across the crease, and he opens up his 5-hole, and Tavares rips it on the ice right through to tie the game. Canada's been chasing the game for 45 minutes. Finally back even.
And the peine d'ambule is costly. And that may have been 3 #1 overall picks combining on that goal for Canada. Tavares from Bedard and Power.
And that's not a normal power play group. Bedard's not usually with that group. They put him out there because he's been possessing the puck, making nice plays. And he did it again when he had to.
Now 2:07 to go here in the third. The long climb back from 2-0 down in the first. And now Mercer sends it back down to the Swiss zone. All those icings by the Swiss here in the third period. So many defensive zone face-offs. A lot of activity in the defensive zone for them, and they finally put the puck out of over the glass. Niederreiter shoots. That's gloved by Binnington, and finally Canada connected. And it is Tavares from Bedard and Power.
Some high draft capital. Watch Bedard here. Isolates Turcoff, draws in Berchi, and you can see what Giannoni's thinking. He feels Nick Paul in the back door. And there's
Tom Bedard.
Tom Bedard's dad. He's celebrating that as he should. Bedard dancing with a little space. And Andrew Sambuel steps out of the box while Captain John Tavares.
And now the Swiss have called timeout. So, if the game is tied to regulation, it's 10 minutes of 3-on-3 overtime, and then if necessary, a shootout. That format continues.
Without a flood.
Right. That format continues to the end of the bronze medal game. The gold medal game has no shootout. You play it as a winner.
3-on-3 until it's a winner.
3-on-3 until it's a winner.
Which won't take that long.
Well, Nick Paul can tell you it took a little while longer than they thought when he scored in 2021.
It's true. And now Switzerland's got to kind of turn their brain back on. We got to go attack. They've been on their heels defending, trying to nurse a lead.
The shots are 19-4 Canada in the third.
Coming all the way through 18 minutes, but not through 20.
Winner gets Czechia in the gold medal game tomorrow night. Now Tavares for defensive zone. Face off against Hischier. And poked in by Parayko. Back to center ice. Picked up by Nick Paul. In comes Paul with McCann. Drop back to Parayko, a shot. And Giannoni saw that at the last second. It bounces back in the corner to Gunther. Dylan Gunther spins and shoots. That's off the stick of Fiala. Up and out. Another face-off in the Swiss zone.
Tavares scrambles the defensive zone draw. They're able to get the clear and right back down the offensive end for Canada. And obviously with overtime on the horizon, you don't have to press too much or change your lines around if you're Canada. I'm thinking you want to call timeout to get Tavares out there one more time in the offensive zone would be an option.
Paul for the face-off against Haas. And Paul wins that back to Goulet. In the corner is McCann with it now. Kicking at it with Kukan. Paul Works that free. Nick Paul still on it. Now scooped up by Haas. Swatted back in by Gunther. Siegenthaler plays that to the line and out for the Swiss. Haas looks ahead for Scherve, along with Ambuel. Ambuel still on it, gets around Severson, centers it. That was blocked by Gouli. Now played back at the point for Kukan. The can was knocked down. Kukan in, shoots, that's blocked. Flip back ahead. Kukan holds the line for the Swiss. Here's Ambuel back on it. Inside a minute to go in the third period. Gouli tangling there with Ambuel. And Severson picks it free for Canada. Lead pass to Paul. And Nick Paul moves that to the line and out for Canada. Siegenthaler Beckham with it for the Swiss. And that's too many men for the Swiss.
Oh my goodness.
The Swiss just got called for too many men on a sloppy change in front of their bench. And Patrick Fisher is livid. The Swiss coach almost hopped on the ice there.
Oh my. And this is pivotal because power play, 38 seconds left, and Siegenthaler goes rink wide, and yeah, you see Sherway, he's not off. And
now with their argument that Yossi's a defenseman coming on, Sherway's the forward.
Have to get a wide look at it. But Andrew Ghetto was right behind Yossi, and he was the guy coming on for Sherway. So if they don't score in 38 seconds, they'll go 4-on-3 to start overtime.
Paul, Cousins, Bedard, Tavares the forwards, Power on the back end, Fiala will serve it for the Swiss.
Same group that just scored.
38 seconds to go in the third. Paul wins the face-off back to Power. Owen Power lofts that towards the goal. Bouncing puck got away from Cousins. And now Cousins knocks that down for Bedard. And they get set up as Bedard winds in. Connor Bedard feeds it back in front. Yossi down, puck loose. Tavares can't reach it. Spins and shoots. The puck still bouncing. And Giannone lunges out and pounces on the loose puck.
Nick Paul recognizes after the clearing is blocked that he's got Tavares on the weak side. He tries to find him with just a little touch pass out of Yossi's feet, and if it gets over flat, but it just pops in the air on him. Tavares can't pick it out of the air himself.
Now the face off to the right side. 20 seconds to go in the period. Off the draw, Paul trying to dig it free, and he does. Paul looks back, but it's picked off by Hischier. Rink wide he goes for Haas. Being defended by Bedard, and Bedard knocks that away. And Bedard quickly ahead, dying seconds now in the period. Connor Bedard works in. In comes Bedard on Kukan. Bedard looks back, Cousins reaching for it. And they won't get a shot away. Power was alone in the slot. But Canada will have a minute and 22 seconds of power play time, 4-on-3 to carry over into overtime. 2-2 the score. And a berth in the gold medal game on the line.
Po 3-minutové přestávce následuje 10-minutové prodloužení s náhlým vítězstvím. Prodloužení bude hrát posledním brankářem, 3 hráči v poli.
Well, what a drama we're witnessing here in the Prague Arena at the second semifinal of the 2024 IIHF Ice Hockey Pro Championship. The score is tied, and we will need you, the fans, to create once again the best atmosphere you can. 2 minutes to go. These are the statistics of the third period, and let's get ready for the overtime.
Canada outshot the Swiss 20-4 in the third period, 33-10 since the end of the first period.
Swiss tried to park the bus for 40 minutes and almost pulled it off, but a late power play goal. And a 4-on-3 is not something you practice, even in an NHL season. You just don't practice this very often. Certainly Team Canada would not have spent hardly any time working on this very unique situation. If I'm Andre Tourigny though, I'm putting Connor Bedard on the ice. He is feeling the puck in the third period. He's making plays. With a little more time and space, I would be inclined to get him out there distributing. Tavares, Dubois, Cousins. We're gonna go 4 forwards, maybe throw one defenseman on there.
They're gonna go 4 forwards by the looks of it.
Which, a quick reminder before you go out there for 4 forwards. If you turn the puck over, multiple guys have to hustle back. You can't assume a one-on-one's gonna go clean like it would if it's a defenseman.
Here we go to overtime. 10 minutes of OT and if necessary, a shootout. Surkov versus Tavares on the face-off. Canada on the power play for 1 minute and 22 seconds. And the puck controlled by Canada as Cousins taps that back to Bedard. And away comes Connor Bedard. The 18-year-old drops it back to Cousins. The tournament goal-scoring leader back for Dubois. And Dubois, rolling puck, swings that back around to Tavares as Canada gets set up. John Tavares off the board, slides it back to Bedard. In for Cousins, he crisscrosses with Bedard. Back down to Tavares. And Tavares slides that back to Bedard. Working in, Connor Bedard has a look and retreats back. Bedard slings it down to Tavares. It skipped away from him. Siegenthaler on it, banks it off the boards and back down the ice. 40 seconds to go in this Canadian power play. Binnington up for Bedard. 4 forwards on the ice for Canada. Bedard winds his way in, banks that back around for Tavares. Bouncing puck goes to Berchi, sends it ahead, and Dubois swings back for Canada. Pierre-Luc Dubois drops it back for Bedard. And in comes Connor Bedard, drops it back for Cousins. Slides it back for Dubois. Across he goes to Tavares. Time winding down in the power play. Bedard works it back across. Cousins a shot, Giannone to save. He'll hang on with 9 seconds to go in the power play.
That was the one they wanted, but they didn't want it from that set. They wanted the rotation to go more of a straight seam as opposed to an umbrella. Giannone doesn't have quite as far to go when it's on an angle. Now you have to take the 4 guys off, get 2 defensemen out there because you're going to play 4-on-4 in 9 seconds. So the timing of that was actually pretty good.
And then it'll be 4-on-4. If Canada doesn't score, it'll be 4-on-4 until the next whistle. Then down 3-on-3. So now you've got Paul, Hagel, Parayko, and Power.
Smartly, Fiala in the box, ready to step out and be aware in 9 seconds.
Paul wins it back. Parayko to Power. Time winding down the power play. Power to Parayko. Moves it down for Nick Paul.
Take it to the net.
Paul drops it back to Power. Fiala steps back on. Owen Power drops that back to Parayko. The puck comes out. He's got to retreat. Being watched by Fiala. On the next whistle, it'll go down to 3-on-3. Hagel winds his way in. Hagel bumped there for a moment. Gathers it back up and rings that around. Siegenthaler reaching for it. Parayko steps up. And now knocked by Paul. Loose at center ice for Hischier. To Fiala. Fiala drops for Hischier. Back across to Fiala. That pass missed. And Fiala has to tap that back to his own zone. And Hagel gets there first for Canada. Brandon Hagel pivots back. Has a look in front. Finds Severson. Damon Severson back with it. Across he goes to Goulet. Down to Tavares. John Tavares back with it. 4-on-4 here in overtime. Tavares winds in, shoots off the side of the goal. Tavares back on it. Feeds it back to Hagel. He drops it back. Severson a shot that was blocked by Kukan. Caden Goulet back with it. Niederreiter works it free and banks that back around to Fiala. And Fiala leaves it there for Yossi. Swiss making a late change as Siegenthaler comes on. And Canada takes the opportunity to make a change as well. Roman Yossi up for Siegenthaler. Feeds that back down to the Canadian zone as Byram goes back. Lays that back for Cousins. Now Dylan Cousins. Up ahead for Jamie Alexiuk leading the rush. And Alexiuk with a rolling puck. Throws that in the slot. Picked off by Andrighetto. And Alexiuk has to hustle back. Cousins back defending as Andrighetto comes in. Sven Andrighetto. He watched by 2 Canadians. Byram steps into him. Now chance back in front. Just missing on that was Ambuel. Alexiuk. Lead pass for Dubois. In on Yossi. Pierre-Luc Dubois. Drops it back to Cousins with a shot, just missed wide. And back at center ice at the linesman skate. Berchi goes ahead to Ambuel. Andres Ambuel had his pocket pick, gets a shot away, but Binnington turns that away. Still no whistle, get down to 3-on-3. Dubois taps that back for Power. Now picked up by Parayko. Canada making a change as Parayko spins back. On comes Mangiapane along with McCann up front. That lead pass missed. Fora's got it back now for the Swiss as Herzog goes off. And on comes Fiala. Michael Fora. That pass picked up at center ice as McCann got a stick on it. McCann was dumped at center ice, gets back up. Mangiapane drops it back for Gouli.
It's a very early change by Gouli, and they're going to get him.
They're going to call Canada for too many men in overtime. And the Swiss will go to the power play.
Gouli didn't touch it, but he was way on the ice as Parayko was going off. Puck is turned over. You see Parayko, look at that. That's a long way for Parayko before he's. And given they just called it too many men,
right?
That's gonna be called.
So now the Swiss to a 4-on-3 power play with 6 to go in overtime. Hischier, Fiala, Löffel, and Josi. Canada went with 4 forwards in the power play. The Swiss go 2-2.
So Löffel's out there for one reason.
Yeah.
Just hammer pucks. One-timer, they're playing strong, offside, as will Fiala.
The Swiss power play has been lethal. Scored twice in the first period. Josi feeds it back across to Fiala. Being watched by Alexiak. Back around to Hischier. Fiala back down to Hischier. Fiala back for Löffel. Feeds it back to Josi. Roman Josi has a look back for Fiala. Löffel back to Josi. Feeds it back. Löffel a shot, and Paul got in the way. Alexiak gathers up the puck, feeds it by Josi, and back down the ice. And Canada got a quick change of penalty killers as Cousins, Severson, and Parayko come on. Canada's had 2 shorthanded breakaways in the game as Josi works in. Pivots back and drops that back to Löffel. Löffel back across to Fiala. Fiala winds in, being watched by Cousins, plays that back to Löffel. And Löffel being directed there by Josi, feeds him the puck. As Josi winds in for Fiala, fans on the shot. Severson plays it at a race now. Cousins and Josi. In comes Dylan Cousins, short-handed. Dylan Cousins in, stopped by Giannone. Oh, what a stop there. Now Cousins has it back. Cousins lost the puck for a moment. Fiala's got it back. And Fiala bumped there by Severson as Cousins gathers it back up at the line. The puck squirts free. Gouli jumps up. Caden Gouli moves it ahead. As both teams are changing, Caden Gouli winds in. Here his teammates a long way away, and Fiala stepped into Gouli, but he plays it back for Parayko. Across to Hagel. 30 seconds to go in the Swiss power play. Played back for Parayko. As time walks out and brings it ahead. In comes Parayko along with Hagel. Colton Parayko comes steaming in. Has a look back, and Parayko takes that back in deep. By some important time as Andrighetto has to drop it back for Kukan. Parayko makes his way off. On comes Byram. Final seconds now of the Swiss power play. In comes Gaetan Haas with it. Spins back in front of Power, feeds that back to Kukan. Final seconds now, then back to Kukan as Bunting jumps back. Oh, and a shot by Andrighetto goes wide. Loose puck on the side of the goal, racing to it as Bunting. Tired Swiss players on the ice. Away comes Bunting. It's still 4-on-4. In comes Bunting. We haven't had 3-on-3 yet in overtime. Hagel back with it. Feeds that back to Power. Power for Byram. And Bunting comes off as Tavares steps on for Canada. Byram works in. I was close to offside. Byram sends it back in front. Just missed Tavares with that pass. And now Power back with it. Owen Power winds in. Off the bench comes Dubois. Power drops it back for Dubois. Throws that towards the goal. It goes off a skate to Tavares. Tied up by Siegenthaler. Tavares still on it. John Tavares whacks at that. Knocks it free for Dubois. And Pierre-Luc Dubois with Power in front. Drops that back to Owen Power. Power skates away from Turkov. Drops it back off to Byram. He drops it for Dubois. And Dubois spins away from Niederreiter. Throws that wide of the goal. And now a race for it. Turkov gathers it back up. The Swiss need a change. Drop back down to the zone. Janoni's got to wait for it. It's picked up by Dubois. Dubois throws it back in the high slot to Alexiak. Alexiak shoots. That goes wide. Out the other side. Picked up by Hischier. And Hischier settles it down. Nico Hischier winds in. In comes Hischier on Parayko. Shoots, and Parayko got a stick on that. And with 2:31 to go in overtime, we'll finally get 3-on-3.
We've already seen Dylan Cousins end the game shorthanded in overtime once. And he's in alone. What speed to pull away from Josi, but just can't quite elevate. Protects, gets it to his forehand. He was 2 inches from going over the pad and in the back of the net. Janoni just gets the very top of his pad on that Cousins rush. Keep the game going.
Paul, Hagel, the forwards. Parayko, the defenseman, is Berchi, Fiala, and Josi for the Swiss. Off the draw, picked up by Fiala. And Kevin Fiala winds that back. It bounced away from Josi. A chance now for Hagel. In comes Brandon Hagel. And Fiala had a hold of him. And now Hagel comes back the other way as Fiala breaks in with Berchi. Fiala works in, drops it back to Josi in the high slot. Binnington down, they play it across. That's broken up by Hagel as Binnington was down and out.
What a back check by Hagel, not giving up on a play. That would have been an empty net.
Hagel drops it back for Cousins. 2 to go in the overtime period. Mangiapane out there. And Byram comes on for Canada. In comes Cousins, 3-on-3 with Byram. Cousins works in, drops it back in the high slot for Mangiapane, being harassed there by Hischier. Mangiapane back on it. Pivots in behind the goal. Mangiapane drops that back to Cousins. And Cousins feeds it back to Byram. Byram. Crisscrossing there with Mangiapane, and now Cousins. Byram drops that back and across for Cousins. He'll have to retreat to center ice. The Swiss are changing. Cousins back ahead for Mangiapane working in. Tries to pull that free as Hischier was on him. And I'll play back to Kukan. Kukan up for Andrighetto. 80 seconds to go in overtime. And now Tavares with it. He had the overtime winner for Canada against Austria. And now Turkov has lost his stick, but he moves it across to Josi. In on Byram, he shoots at the flex wide. Josi back on it, being watched there by Byram. Andrighetto lost the puck to Tavares. Up for Dubois. Dubois finds Tavares. Working back in on Turkov, a forward defending. Tavares trying to drop that back, but the puck comes back to center ice. And now Turkov on it. 45 seconds to go in the period. Calvin Turkov with the Swiss changing. Moves in with Fiala. The drop pass for Kevin Fiala. Winds in, drops that back for Siegenthaler. That pass missed. Now he's being shadowed there by Paul. And it bounces across to Berchi. Inside 30 seconds to go in overtime. In comes Berchi with it. Hagel back defending. Berchi drops it off to Fiala working in. Fiala sends it back in front. Binnington juggles it but hangs on with Berchi standing right there. 16.7 seconds left in overtime.
Trying to get the puck into Fiala's hands at all costs, and eventually he's able to crisscross down to Berchi, but Binnington will snag it. It was a tremendous effort by Fiala. He gets body position. He establishes his hips in front of Hagel and takes it away. Great skating. And the back check from Hagel, my goodness, that would have been Fiala putting it in the empty net. Big face-off here.
Now Hischier against Cousins. Scramble draw, controlled. Fiala plays it back in the corner. Parayko on it now. Colton Parayko works that free to Cousins. And Dylan Cousins up for Mangiapane. It's off his skate. And he gathers it back up with Cousins. In comes Cousins. One-on-one with Josi. He shoots. That's blocked. Another chance at the horn. And Janoni makes the save. And Canada and Switzerland are going to a shootout at the World Hockey Championship.
Last second dash. Cousins pulls a block shot, tries to find it, but not much there for Janoni to turn aside. So we go 10 minutes, not too many chances, despite a couple power plays, and right to a shootout to decide who goes for gold.
Switzerland won a shootout against the Czechs in the round robin. This is Canada's first shootout at the 2024 World Hockey Championship.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, until the very end, we still do not know remember who will face each other in tomorrow's final game. The penalty shootout will decide it all. Stay in your seats and enjoy the drama.
On to a shootout we go. Canada all-time in shootouts of the World Championship is 4-9. Some memorable losses in all of that. The Swiss are 3-8, now 4-8 after their win against the Czechs earlier. Here's the interesting part for the Swiss. They used 2 defensemen among their 5 shooters in the game against Czechia. Their NHL guys have not had a great track record in the shootout this year. Fiala was 0 for 4. Niederreiter's 2 for 12 in his career. Two of Canada's best shootout performers this year were defensemen. Owen Power, 1 for 3, is 2 for 4 in his career. And Damon Severson, 1 for 1 this year, 4 for 11 in his career.
Do you want to go with a guy who only has a couple shots in his career, despite the good percentage? I know Fiala's going to take one. I don't care what his NHL record might be.
He did not score. Or he did score for it in the shootout against the Czechs. He and Kurashev scored. Andrighetto, Loeffel, and Yossi were stopped.
Kurashev's not playing tonight.
Right.
He would have been an option. Sentler.
So Canada will shoot first. A berth in the gold medal game on the line. Canada has gone to the gold medal game 7 of the last 8 years. So here we go. And first up for Canada, Connor Bedard. 1 for 1 this year with the Chicago Blackhawks.
Team Canada by number 98, Connor Bedard.
The 18-year-old Bedard in on Giannoni. And Bedard works in, scores!
Just ice. Ice in his veins, like nothing. Slams on the break, picks his spot. That is the modern-day 5-hole right by the heel. That makes Dad happy, albeit a little bit stressed.
And now Sven Sentler, the 31-year-old, plays for EV Zug in the Swiss League. He did not shoot against the Czechs. In comes Sentler, waits, and Binnington makes the stop. It's a 5-round shootout. And after 5 rounds, if it's still tied, you can start using players again.
Team Canada.
They're trying to set up the shot.
18.
Just misses his target, hits the pad.
Pierre-Luc Dubois, 2 for 4 this year in the NHL, 8 for 18 in his career. In comes Dubois on Giannoni, and Giannoni makes the save.
Trying to cut across the front of the net. Hands really close together so we can throw a move at him or shoot it. And he's trying to go under the arm. Can't quite hit it.
Fiala 0 for 4 this year for the LA Kings, but did score against the Czechs last week. In comes Fiala on Binnington to try to tie it up. Fiala works in, scores!
Bennington tried to throw him off by feigning a poke check. Watch him throw a stick out there. Fiala way too far away, able to drag it to the open side and finish.
Dylan Cousins, 0 for 3 in his career in the NHL. So they'll go with Damon Severson. We talked about this. Severson, 1 for 1 this year, has been very good in the NHL in shootouts. In comes Severson. On Giannone, makes the save.
Got in tight, not a lot of room to elevate the puck. Gets it up, but Giannone's glove's right on top of it, nowhere to go.
And the Swiss will counter with a defenseman of their own. Loeffel shot against the Czechs last week, did not score.
They like to shoot or backhand pull.
Romain Loeffel, Swiss League champion with Zurich this year. Comes speeding in and shoots, and Bennington makes a stop. It's 1-1 after 3 rounds.
Coming in that fast. Bennington's got his glove exact same as the Giannone last save. And here's Power, as you mentioned.
1 for 3 this year, 2 for 4 in his career.
Long reach, generally does moves.
Trying to give Canada the lead. In comes Power on Giannone. Power moves in, and the goal post.
He had him, he had him. He strung him out, and he just missed tucking it in the open side. The patience. Giannone attacking the feet with his feet. Never a bad idea.
And now Andrighetto for the Swiss. Did not score against the Czechs, but was very good in the NHL. 3 for 5 in his career. In comes Andrighetto. Works it and shoots, scores! And the Swiss have the lead after 4 rounds.
Trying to find the glove here. This one gets underneath and off the post and in. So Dylan Cousins now to stay alive.
Cousins has to score to extend the shootout. Here comes Cousins with a berth in the gold medal game on the line. Cousins in on Giannone, waits, and he's stopped. And the Swiss win it. Switzerland will go to the gold medal game against Czechia. Canada will play Sweden for the bronze. Canada has been denied a gold medal berth twice since 2015, both by the Swiss.
It's a lot of pressure. You're going last. Game on the line. Cousins tries to string him out, and Giannone was so good in this game. And you see how much that win means for Switzerland. They've been so close the last few years, but haven't been able to get over the hump. That's a pretty big hump to get over in Canada.
And they will try to win their first ever World Championship gold medal tomorrow night against the host team from Czechia. And those two went to a shootout a week ago. And for Canada, it will be a bronze medal game against the Swedes. Canada battled back from 2-0 down. Forced extra time. We'll now get the player of the game presentations and then the top 3 players for each team, and then the Swiss national anthem.
Canada played hard. I mean, they were the much better team the second and third period. A lot of missed opportunities, the breakaways that they were not able to cash in on. Giannone was just too good for Switzerland to let Canada through.
The best players of each team will be awarded with a watch by Tissot, official timekeeper of the 2024 IIHF Ice Hockey World Championship. The prizes will be presented by the Vice President for Marketing of Tissot, the official sponsor of the 2024 IIHF Ice Hockey World Championship, Mr. Matt George, and the 2024 IIHF Hall of Fame inductee, Mel Davidson. Best player of Team Canada, number 91, John Tavares.
Tough to argue with the captain. Had the late third period goal to tie it up at 2. Melody Davidson presenting the award. She'll go to the IIHF Hall of Fame tomorrow as a builder.
Best player of Team Switzerland, number 63, Leonardo
No doubt.
Giannone.
42 of 44.
Final shots were 44-31 Canada. Now the top 3 players for each team selected by their management.
The 3 best players of the 2024 IIHF Ice Hockey World Championship of both teams will be now awarded with a prize from the organizing committee. The 3 best players award is selected by each team and will be presented by the Federal President of Switzerland, Her Excellency Viola Amelt, and the head of venue department of the organizing committee, Mr. Josef Zenici. The 3 best players of Team Canada are number 22, Dylan Cousins.
The tournament goal scoring leader.
Number 55, Colton Mariko. And number 13, Brendan Tanev.
And Tanev named one of Canada's top 3 players.
It's a great experience for him. Scored in this game as well.
The 3 best players of Team Switzerland are number 90, Roman Yossi. Number
Leads the tournament
21
in scoring by defensemen in minutes. Fiala arrived late, but was terrific. And Hischier.
The big 3. Played like it all tournament long.
Yossi's won 2 silver medals at the World Championship. Would love to finally get a gold.
What a game that is going to be.
Tomorrow night,
Tomorrow night.
medal game here.
John, a semifinal game ending in a shootout is definitely a tough pill to swallow. How close did a win feel today?
I mean, that's as close as it gets. Still hard to believe, really. A lot of credit to the guys just sticking with it, battling back. Obviously, comes down to that circumstance. Unfortunate we didn't come out on top. So, obviously not the game we want to be playing tomorrow, but we got to find a way to regroup and finish strong.
It was just 6 days ago that Canada beat Switzerland 3-2 in the preliminary round. What made them more of a challenge today?
I think both games are really tight and good hockey games. Very competitive. I think you can tell today it was teams are a little bit more disciplined after whistles, even on the physical play, but it was just tight. They've defended really well throughout this tournament. 1-goal hockey games. Came down to a shootout. Obviously, we just didn't end up on the right side of it.
In less than 24 hours, Canada will have a chance to compete for a bronze medal. As captain of this team, what are you saying to the guys to try and help them reset and turn around so quickly?
Well, I mean, I think we know it's not the medal we want to be playing for, but we don't want to go home empty-handed, and we got to play. So we're putting this jersey on. We're in the Maple Leaf. We want to represent our country proud.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Let's start with the fact that you're playing for a gold medal tomorrow. How good does that sound?
It feels really good. I mean, that's why we all play. I mean, obviously it's exciting times, and we're definitely looking forward for tomorrow night. Yeah.
Your keeper had quite the performance tonight, over 40 saves for Leonardo. What stood out to you about your goalie's performance in helping get the win?
I mean, he's been outstanding all tournament, and then he steps up in big game moments, keeps us in the game. Gives us the save we need, and yeah, obviously he's a huge part of our team, and we're glad we have him between the pipes.
And you will face Czechia in the gold medal game. Of course, facing the host nation brings a challenge. What kind of atmosphere are you expecting tomorrow?
Well, the atmosphere is going to be crazy. I mean, we're excited for that, even though they're against us, but I mean, that's what we play for. I mean, we already noticed when we play against them in the group stage. It was yeah, a great atmosphere in here, and we're so excited for tomorrow. Yeah.
This would be the first time that Switzerland has the chance to win a gold medal. What would that mean to you and your team?
Ja, es wird natürlich großartig. Wir haben noch nie Gold können holen und jetzt mit einem noch einen Sieg und dann haben wir ihn. Aber ja, wir müssen uns sicher optimal vorbereiten und dann Step für Step. Ja.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Feels like slow start again, hurt them, penalty kill, whatever, and then we'll talk about great comeback, tons of chances.
You going to take the whole thing, or want to ask the second question?
You ask me the second one.
Okay.
All
right. Johan, you ready? Here we go in 5, 4, 3. Canada once again bedeviled by a slow start in the first period against the Swiss.
You knew Switzerland was going to come ready to play. They played so well all tournament long. They were dangerous, especially if you took penalties. And Canada's slow play away from the puck, taking penalties, chasing the game in the first period allows Switzerland to get the power plays, 2 power play goals, really well executed. Canada just wasn't quite on their toes, quite as quick to lose pucks, losing too many battles, playing on their own end, taking penalties, and then, of course, they're down 2-0. Chasing the game made it very difficult to come back.
But after the first period, Canada dominated.
They absolutely did. And give them full credit. They were down 2-0, but for the last 40 minutes, it was all Canada in the offense zone. All the stuff they didn't do well in the first period, they did much better in the second, third, winning battles, pucks to the net, chances galore. Give Leonardo Giannoni a ton of credit, but Canada battled all the way back 2-2 and had plenty more chances beyond just the goals that went in to potentially win this game. They get it all the way to a shootout, and then once you're there, it's a crapshoot no matter which way you're going to go. But Canada probably deserved to win this game. They were the better team for more of it, just could not find a way to solve Giannoni.
And Canada now 4-10 all-time in shootouts at the World Championship. Will play Sweden for the bronze in the first game on Sunday. It'll be the Swiss trying to win their first ever gold medal against the host Czechs in the gold medal game here in Prague. Thanks, Sean.